Chapter 854. With a plop, the talisman Sect disciple fell miserably on the ground. His face was deathly pale and bloodless while his eyes were filled with extreme fear. He had never expected to be caught by Xueqi, who had been playing with eagles all year round. He also did not expect that a true god cultivator would be able to send him flying with a single palm strike. Furthermore, the instant he sensed the severity of his injuries, he knew that he would not be able to recover for at least a year even if he were to consume healing pills. His internal organs had been displaced by a single palm strike and 6 of his ribs had been broken. In fact, one of his ribs had even penetrated his lungs. Waves of pain came from the inside of his upper body, and his vision gradually became blurry. However, at this moment, he knew that he did not dare to faint without the permission of the person in front of him. This was because of Lin Rei's murderous gaze and the murderous aura that was being emitted from his body without any restraint. At this moment, when he looked at Lin Rei, he no longer saw the elegant young man he used to be. Instead, he saw a god of death. Lin Rei's smile was like the god of death waving at him, causing his hair to stand on end and his heart to tremble in fear. His chest and abdomen trembled. Unable to endure any longer, a warm current spurted out from his mouth. Cough, cough. As he coughed, he looked at Lin Rei, who was like a god of death. He wanted to beg for mercy, but at this moment, he realized that his fatty was in so much pain that he could not speak. At this moment, he became anxious. After that, he began to groan and mumble something. However, Lin Rei knew very well that he wanted to beg for mercy. However, Lin Rei would let him off. After all, he had done something that no one would dare to do to him. "Ha, brat. You are the one who is courting death. I already told you to get lost but you refused. Who can you blame for this?" As the saying goes, one can survive a heavenly disaster but one cannot survive a self-inflicted disaster. I believe that you understand this logic. When he saw the miserable appearance of the talisman Sect disciple, Lin Rei smiled faintly. Then he took a step forward and arrived beside him in an instant. He felt a wave of disdain in his heart. Rest. If you want to recover your voice, I'm afraid no one in this world can help you. Of course, this is also your punishment. With a look of disdain on his face, he turned around and prepared to leave. Oh right. As if having thought of something, Zhang Xian didn't turn around. Instead, a voice sounded in his mind. In the future, before you fight with others, remember not to speak too much nonsense. Let me teach you a philosophy. Lin Rei said with a serious face, if you can fight, try not to force it. Ugh. PFFF. She did not have the chance to look at the talisman grandmaster's stunned expression as he vomited blood. Then, she smiled and left this place. Even though the battle earlier had only lasted for an instant, the talisman grandmaster's cultivation had already been released. Therefore, there was no guarantee that no one else would come. In Lin Rei's eyes, those people were nothing more than ants. However, the current him did not wish to meet them so early. He still wanted to play. Just as Lin Rei had expected, not long after he left, a few figures instantly streaked across the sky. After which, they landed beside the talisman grandmaster's disciple, who was lying on the ground with his face covered in blood. Gasp. Who did this? It's so spicy. At this moment, when the young man who was the leader saw that his fellow disciples had been humiliated to such an extent, the anger in his heart instantly soared to a new height. However, when the few lackeys who followed closely behind the young man saw their boss in such a state, they immediately rolled their eyes and said, "Boss, didn't you see this person's appearance?" What are you trying to say? When the young man heard what his lackeys said, he suddenly raised his eyebrows. His expression was slightly unfriendly. This person's name is Bai Yun. He is ranked in the top 15 of the inner Sect wind ranking. Look at the wounds on his body. This was clearly done with a single move. Think about it. Can we keep such a person alive? Upon hearing these words, the young man who was the leader was stunned. His originally firm heart to seek justice had been shaken. He was shaken and did not know how to deal with this matter. Cough, cough. Suddenly, a violent coughing sound was heard, waking up the cold and dark people present. You're awake. Looking at Bai Yun, the young man spoke. His face was filled with sympathy, causing Bai Yun to be startled. Of course, it was only for a moment. Bai Yun came back to his senses and immediately said, Yes, may I know who you are? He did not speak with his mouth, but instead used his divine sense to communicate. After all, his throat had been specially taken care of by Lin Rei, so. Looking at Bai Yun, the young man was stunned for a moment before coming back to his senses. He flicked his hair and immediately said, I am Lu Zhongtian, ranked 45th on the inner sect wind ranking. Just now, I felt a violent fluctuation of cultivation here, so. Hearing this, Bai Yun was stunned for a moment before understanding. However, because of Lu Zhongtian's words, Bai Yun could not help but recall the scene of him being sent flying with a single palm strike. Even now, Bai Yun's heart still palpitated. This feeling seemed to be engraved in his mind and could not be removed. No matter how hard he tried, he could not chase it away. For a moment, Bai Yun was stunned. His expression was filled with fear and his body involuntarily trembled at this moment. What's wrong with you? Sensing Bai Yun's abnormality, Lu Zhongtian was stunned and asked with a puzzled expression. Hearing Lu Zhongtian's words, Bai Yun was stunned. Then with a trembling voice, he dissuaded Lu Zhongtian. Don't delve into it. Don't ask any more. This matter is too terrifying. Don't ask any more. Just pretend this matter never happened. Bai Yun could not summon the slightest bit of hatred towards Lin Rei. It was not that he did not want to, but that he did not dare. The instant he was sent flying by Lin Rei's palm strike, not only did it destroy Bai Yun's confidence, it also destroyed Bai Yun's spirit. He could not bring himself to hate Lin Rei. The only thing he felt was fear, endless fear. Damn, what's going on? You've become like this so. Although Lu Zhongtian said that, he was shocked when he saw Bai Yun's state. Bai Yun was an expert ranked in the top 10 of the wind ranking. But now, his eyes were filled with fear and his body was trembling. It was as if he had experienced some inhumane torture. However, if Lu Zhongtian knew that Bai Yun's current state was caused by a single palm strike, he might not believe it and laugh out loud. He might even say that Bai Yun was joking. Of course, this was the case for most of the people. They did not believe that a true God Realm cultivator could turn an expert in the Divine Guard Realm into such a state with a single palm strike. The wind ranking was created by the Talisman Sect for the purpose of training their disciples. Of course, if they were ranked in the top 10, they would receive a huge amount of resources. However, the wind ranking was the weakest ranking in the Talisman Sect. Above the wind ranking, there was the cloud ranking. Above the cloud ranking, there was the star ranking. Above the star ranking, there was the supreme ranking. Of course, these rankings would be promoted as one's level increased. Just like the supreme ranking, one would become an elder of the sect after becoming a supreme ranking. Most of the supreme ranking experts would be at the middle stage God Emperor realm. As for the cloud ranking and star ranking, they corresponded to the Divine Emperor realm, Divine Sect and Divine Monarch realm respectively. Of course, the number of people on these rankings would decrease according to the ranking's strength. After all, the rarer something was, the more valuable it was. Furthermore, cultivation could not be achieved overnight. However, at this moment, Linley had no idea that it was because of him that White Cloud had fallen silent under his tyrannical power, not daring to do anything that went against its conscience. This was because he was afraid. He was afraid mentally and from the bottom of his soul. He was extremely afraid. However, at this moment, Lin Rei, who was the person in question, returned to his leisurely manner. It was just that he deliberately increased his speed so that he would not be left too far behind by the crowd. It seems like the grade of the disciples recruited by the Talisman Sect has increased by quite a bit this time. Who would have thought that the number of newcomers among the 50,000 would be reduced to 20,000 at this moment? The remaining tens of thousands were nowhere to be found. Of course, these were not important to him. As for the golden light, Lin Rei was even less anxious. After all, it would eventually become a secret treasure in his hands. Thinking of this, Lin Rei could not help but smile. However, to the crowd, this smile was not as comfortable as his previous expressionless face. Bastard! You bunch of beasts! I have treated you well in the past. Who would have thought that you would repay my kindness with enmity? You want to kill me? Do you think you can kill me? At this moment, Lin Rei, who was awakened by this voice, came back to his senses. He turned around with an excited look on his face. It was as if this voice was very interesting to him. At this moment, on a hill not far away, a group of people were surrounding a young man who was wearing tattered clothes. His hair was disheveled and his clothes had been washed until they were white. However, to everyone's surprise, the young man who was lying on the ground had a stubborn expression on his face. He looked at the group of people who were bullying him with a determined expression on his face. He gritted his teeth and said, You can't do this. When my Xue clan was still around, I gave you everything you wanted. I provided you with an enormous amount of cultivation resources. Originally, I would not have allowed you to become a guest of my Xue clan based on your resources. However, when my Xue clan was about to fall, you actually colluded with that group of bastards. Now, you even want to kill me. Are you really that heartless? Are you really going to die just like that? His words were filled with endless unwillingness. It was as if this was not what he had expected. It was as if he still had some unfinished business. Ah, your Xue clan? However, at this moment, the leader of the group of young men standing in front of the young man from the Xue clan revealed a cold expression when he saw this. His expression was filled with disdain. Xue clan? What's the Xue clan? Even your Xue clan is not a match for that lord. So surrender. After saying that, the young man gave up talking. There were some secrets that no one could know. Hurry up and give me your Xue clan's heirloom glazed golden tile. Then, I will go back and beg that lord. Perhaps your life will. Bullshit. Suddenly, the young man from the Xue clan shouted angrily. He looked nervous and angry. Ah, interesting. At this moment, at a place where no one was looking, Lin Rei was watching the quarrel in front of him. With a thought, he took out a jar of fruit wine that he had stocked up before and drank it. Gulp, gulp, gulp. The sound echoed in the surroundings. However, those people's attention was not on him. Therefore, no one heard the strange sound at all. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, brothers, let's go. Remember what his fiancée looks like. When the time comes. Hee hee. At this moment, the leader of the group revealed a sinister smile. When the others heard this, their faces turned sinister. I will fight it out with you. At this moment, even an idiot would know what they wanted to do after hearing what they said. The young man from the Xue clan felt guilty towards his fiancée. But now, he wanted to drag her down because of him. For a moment, he didn't know where the energy came from, but a ruthless feeling surged in his heart. An indescribable power instantly spread through his body. Then, he took out a short sword from somewhere and stepped forward to stab the leader of the group. In the distance, Lin Rei saw this scene and sighed slightly. He shook his head and said, Alas, it's like hitting a stone with an egg. Your cultivation is not high enough, but now you still want to fight. Refining is so stingy. Ah, get lost. You're just an ant. Do you think you're still Yun De Qian from the Xue clan? Pa! A crisp sound spread in the air. The young man in the lead was startled when he saw the young man from the Xue clan. However, he quickly regained his composure and used his cultivation to slap the young man's face. The young man from the Xue clan was sent flying backwards without any resistance. Puff! In the air, the young man from the Xue clan spat out a mouthful of scarlet blood. His face was extremely pale. He wasn't as powerful as the leader. Now that the leader had used all his strength, how could the young man from the Xue clan be any better? Alas, this is really, ding. Discovered a person with the highest grade thunder spiritual root. Recommended to subdue him. Ding. Recommended to the host to accept him as a disciple of the sect and use all his strength to help him take revenge. What? When he heard the system's notification, Linley was stunned. This was something that he had never thought of. Furthermore, according to him, it had been a long time since the system had reminded him of his innate talent. Ah, kid, you're so lucky. I didn't expect to meet a cultivator with the highest grade thunder spiritual root here. Hearing the little dragon's tiske, Lin Rei didn't say anything, because he knew that the little dragon hadn't finished speaking. However, the system said that the cultivator with the thunder spiritual root is in danger and is about to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Damn, don't tell me that the person with the highest grade thunder spiritual root that the system mentioned is the young man from the Xue clan. At this moment, hearing the characteristics mentioned by the little dragon and the fact that there weren't many people around, Lin Rei accurately thought of the young man from the Xue clan who was sent flying. However, things that you didn't think about were the truth. Sure enough, after hearing Lin Rei's guess, the little dragon laughed. Haha, yes, that's right. It's that kid. Chapter 855. At this moment, after receiving the little dragon's final confirmation, Lin Rei didn't want to say anything more. He originally wanted to sit back and watch the show, but he didn't expect the system to suddenly make such a move. Now, even if he didn't want to, he had to do it. But, as if he thought of something, the corner of his mouth curved into a smile. If I can nurture this thunder spirit root, he might become a sharp blade by my side. But, if he's obedient, then it's fine. If he's not obedient and turns against his master, then... Although he thought of the importance of the thunder spirit root, compared to the thunder spirit root, Lin Rei cared more about the character and humanity of the person. He didn't want to see the scene in the immortal world. He couldn't bear it, and he didn't dare to bear it. He was afraid, so should I save? Understanding Lin Rei's thoughts, the little dragon didn't force Lin Rei to subdue him. After all, because of that incident, Lin Rei was depressed for a period of time, and at the same time, he went crazy. This was something the little dragon didn't want to see. No matter if it was because of the system or because of Lin Rei, he didn't want to see that scene happen again. At this moment, Lin Rei was silent. He didn't know what choice he should make. Faced with this choice, bang! A group of people surrounded the young man from the Zhua family in the distance, punching and kicking him. Every one of them had a fierce look on their faces, and as time went on, the strength of their punches became heavier and heavier. In the end, the young man from the Zhua family was in so much pain that he fell silent. He wanted to say something. But he didn't know how to say it. At this moment, he was in so much pain that he couldn't feel anything. He couldn't feel what pain was anymore. But the only thing he could feel was the muffled sounds that came from the side of his ears. He lowered his head, and his eyes were filled with ferocity. His murderous aura grew stronger and stronger as he cultivated. He hated himself for being useless. He hated himself for not being able to protect his family. He hated himself for being such a playboy in the past. He hated himself. But he hated this world even more. Fresh blood flowed out from every part of the Zhua youth's body, staining the ground beneath him. Blood continued to flow out of his mouth, and his face was deathly pale. His body trembled uncontrollably, and the scene was extremely tragic. Even so, the group of people didn't seem to have the slightest intention of stopping. Moreover, they kept clapping and cheering as they punched and kicked the youth from the Zhua family. Brat, have you thought it through? Top-grade thunder spiritual root. This spiritual root is very rare. It is not like the 5-element spiritual roots that can be found everywhere. Moreover, not everyone is like you. As your strength increases, you will have all the spiritual roots. This kind of spiritual root is rarely seen in a million years. You should be clear about its importance. At this moment, the little dragon couldn't help but speak. However, the premise that he did all this was for Lin Rei's sake. Because he knew how powerful the thunder spiritual root was, and he also knew how much help it could provide to Lin Rei. Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was stunned. His originally hurried eyes cleared up a little. He raised his head and looked at the youth from the Zhua family who was almost dying from the beating. Lin Rei was stunned. He could feel that the youth from the Zhua family's vitality was increasing rapidly. If he didn't do anything now, he was afraid that the youth would die in less than a minute. Whether you do anything or not is up to you. Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon spoke again. Then, he fell into complete silence and didn't say anything else. Half a minute later, his originally confused eyes finally cleared up, and a hint of determination appeared in his pupils. With a smile on his face, he looked at the youth from the Zhua family with a determined gaze and said through his consciousness, "Brat, I can save you, and I can even give you the power you want. I can let you take revenge and submit to me. Do you agree?" There was no beating around the bush. From Lin Rei's point of view, only the youth's thunder spiritual root was of value to him. Of course, now there was an additional point, and that was the youth's willpower. Who are you? At that moment, the young man from the Zhua clan, who was lying on the ground and being punched and kicked by others, shuddered violently when he heard Lin Li's voice. His eyes, which had been filled with despair and even filled with an aura of death, gained a faint and barely detectable hint of hope when he heard the voice in his head. Yes, at this moment, there was a trace of hope, a trace of determination, and a trace of stubbornness in the youth from the Zhua family. But at the same time, he also knew that the price he had to pay for this was something he couldn't imagine. Because He didn't believe that there would be such a good thing in this world. Moreover, it just so happened to fall on his head. The probability of such a thing happening was very small. It was so small that a supreme god cultivator would choke to death while drinking water, choke to death while eating, or be smashed to death by a flower pot outside. Ha! Hearing the youth's question, Lin Rei smiled and didn't hide anything. He introduced himself. I am Lin Rei, the sect master of the Xuanzong sect. I know what you are thinking, but you can rest assured that what you are thinking will not happen. Of course, what you need to do is to cultivate and become stronger. So strong that other than me, everyone else will submit to you. You only need to do this. Ah, that's all. The youth from the Zhua family was stunned when he heard that. His heart was filled with indescribable doubts. At this moment, after hearing Lin Rei's promise, his previous assumptions were all shattered. He realized that there really was such a good thing in this world, and it happened to him. That's all. Do you agree? If you agree, I will do it. If you don't, I will leave now. Without any hesitation, the youth from the Zhua family immediately said, I agree. The moment Lin Rei said yes, the youth from the Zhua family immediately agreed. Good. Lin Li liked the young man's decisiveness very much. He didn't waste any more time and immediately unleashed his cultivation. His mid-stage hierarch cultivation base was instantly activated. He raised his hand and pointed it at the young man from the Zhua clan. Suddenly, everyone who was punching and kicking the young man froze on the spot. It was as if someone had cast a body-freezing technique on them. They didn't move an inch, but their actions were as if they were about to hit someone. Heh! Looking at the youth from the Zhua family, Lin Rei smiled. His figure flashed and appeared beside the youth in an instant. He reached out and helped the youth up. Release! Looking at the motionless youth, Lin Rei raised his hand and activated his cultivation base. He pointed at the youth's head and said, Release. Suddenly, the youth from the Zhua family recovered. However, because of the broken bones in his body, the moment the immobilizing technique was released, the youth from the Zhua family collapsed on the ground. However, looking at the people around him who were immobilized, the youth's heart trembled and his face was filled with shock. He didn't expect the person in front of him to be so powerful. He didn't even see him make a move, but he and the others were all immobilized on the spot. He had never seen such a technique before, not even when the Zhua family was still around. At this moment he saw hope. The hope of revenge, the hope of regaining his dignity, and winning back everything that he had lost. Lifting his unconscious head with difficulty, the youth from the Zhua family stared at Lin Rei in front of him. His eyes were filled with gratitude and respect. Thank you for saving me. From now on, Xueqi's life is yours. If you tell me to go east, I won't go west. If you tell me to kill a chicken, I won't kill a dog. Your orders are mine. Listening to Xueqi's incessant chatter, Lin Li couldn't help but think of Lu Yuanqi. Suddenly, he began to regret making a move and leaving behind this chatterbox. All right, you're injured. Don't talk so much nonsense. In the end, Lin Rei couldn't help but stop him. Because if he didn't stop him, he didn't know how long Xueqi would continue talking. More importantly, Lin Rei had to treat his injuries. Otherwise, with his current state, he would die soon. Yes. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xueqi obediently shut his mouth. Perhaps because his injuries were too serious, his neck couldn't support it. In the end, he collapsed to the ground before his head could recover. Oh, you can still talk so much in this state. You're really something. Saying that, he shook his head with a wry smile. Then, he squatted down and searched for healing medicine in his space storage ring. Given Xueqi's current condition, it wouldn't work if the medicine was too strong. However, if it was too soft and weak, it wouldn't work either. This stumped Lin Rei. More importantly, there were so many pills in the space storage ring that he really didn't know what to use. Suddenly, Lin Rei, who was searching, narrowed his eyes. A glint flashed in his eyes. In the blink of an eye, a smile appeared on his gloomy face. Fortunately, withdrawing his divine sense, a purple jade bottle appeared in his hand. The words, Emperor-level Heavenly Spirit, were written on the jade bottle. Fortunately, I refined a bottle of Emperor-level Heavenly Spirit pills. Otherwise, it would be difficult to deal with now. Looking at the pill bottle in his hand, Lin Rei's heart was filled with warmth. This Heavenly Spirit was created by him, and he had comprehended it when he released the recall style. This kind of medicinal pill did not have the effect of increasing one's cultivation base, nor did it have the effect of stabilizing one's soul. For cultivators, it was of little value. However, this disciple's strength was that it could heal injuries without any side effects. What was even more amazing was that this medicinal pill belonged to a state between hard and soft, which was the perfect state. Therefore, when he saw this pill bottle, Lin Rei knew that the pill to heal Xueqi was him. Other than him, there was no other choice. Of course, there were 3,000 great Daos. The world was full of wonders. It was impossible to say that there weren't any. He poured out a red pill the size of a fingernail. Without waiting for Xueqi's puzzled look, he flicked his finger. A red light instantly streaked across the sky and rushed into Xueqi's mouth. Boom! The moment he felt something enter his mouth, a warm current instantly exploded in his abdomen. At first, he couldn't stand the high heat, but this feeling only lasted for a moment. After the heat passed, it turned into a boundless medicinal power. It began to spread throughout his limbs and bones, and everything in his body began to recover. Hiss. This. Feeling the strange feeling in his body, Xueqi checked. He didn't know if he didn't check, but when he checked, he was shocked. When he saw that some of the broken bones in his body had healed, he sucked in a breath of cold air. His face was full of disbelief. How is this possible? He couldn't believe what was happening in his body. That's enough. Don't you feel embarrassed? At this time, Lin Rei, who was squatting at the side, saw Xueqi's expression change. He covered his face for a moment, as if he didn't want to know him. This is you. He came back to his senses and looked at Lin Rei. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly remembered the pill bottle from before. For a moment, the matter of his body recovering made sense. I can't thank you enough. Your kindness, I will repay it with my life when I return to the sect. Without wasting any time, he closed his eyes and began to feel his body recovering. Looks like I made the right bet this time. Lin Li saw the respect in Xueqi's eyes. Towards this, his heart, which had been filled with worry, relaxed considerably. At this time, just as Lin Rei was admiring him, the little dragon's voice suddenly sounded. Indeed, this kid's character is really good. Looking at the illusory little dragon, Lin Rei quickly smiled and joked, You know to come out. Nonsense. The little dragon was never restrained with Lin Rei. He directly rolled his eyes at Lin Rei. I told you before, this kid's character is even better. You just didn't believe me. Look at it now. What? Did you say that before? Looking at the little dragon, Lin Rei looked at him doubtfully. But why do I remember that you only suggested that I subdue him? You didn't say anything about his character? I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first. Seeing Lin Rei so mercilessly expose him, the little dragon couldn't stay any longer. He directly found an excuse and disappeared on the spot, returning to the system. Lin Rei didn't stop him. He knew why the little dragon left. Phew! Exhaling a long breath, a trace of tiredness appeared on his face. He sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to rest. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. Lin Rei sat there like this for 6 hours. During these 6 hours, many people passed by, but when it came to Xueqi and the others, everyone acted as if they didn't see them and directly ignored them. If Xueqi was awake at that time, he would probably cry out in surprise. Of course, all of this was Lin Rei's masterpiece. After he closed his eyes to rest, with a wave of his hand, a formation appeared and wrapped everyone up. And this formation didn't have any other benefits. Just like the celestial spirit, it didn't have any other function other than being able to recover. At this moment, the formation that wrapped everyone up was the same. It only had the function of concealing illusions and had no other function. Okay, I'm done. At this moment, a voice full of surprise was heard. Lin Rei, who was resting with his eyes closed, immediately left the moment he heard this business. Looking at the surprised Xueqi, Lin Rei sighed and said, As a cultivator, the most important thing is a cultivator's peace of mind. Look at you, what do you look like now? Chapter 856. I understand. Lin Rei's words were like a bucket of cold water that instantly extinguished the flame in his heart. There was not a trace of hope that was rekindled in his heart. At this moment, The smile on Xueqi's face instantly disappeared and was replaced by a solemn and respectful expression. He did not speak and just stood quietly in front of Lin Rei. He did not know what to do with his hands, and in the end, he simply placed them behind his back. Lin Rei was stunned when he saw Xueqi's current actions. Then he smiled and said, "All right, it's good that you know. There is no need to be so restrained around me." Moreover, as he spoke, he looked at the few people who were frozen and continued, "Now my identity is just the same as yours. I am just an ordinary person who is participating in the Talisman Grandmaster's recruitment. I am only a true god cultivator. Therefore, you must remember not to give yourself away in front of outsiders. Do you understand?" Understood. Although he did not know why Lin Rei was acting like this, he did not dare to reveal a trace of doubt even though he was clearly a powerful expert who was pretending to be a cultivation newbie. He nodded respectfully and said, "I will definitely remember what you have instructed me to do. Please be rest assured." "All right." Upon hearing this, Lin Rei nodded. "Since that is the case, you can call me young master like everyone else." Lin Rei liked this form of address. After all, other than this form of address, he felt a little uncomfortable being called master as someone who had lived under the obligation for 9 years. "Yes, young master. I understand." He nodded and expressed his agreement. "All right." Lin Rei was in a good mood when he saw how obedient Xueqi was. Originally, he had come here to complete the mission issued by the system. However, he did not expect that he would unintentionally discover such a powerful subordinate. Therefore, Lin Rei's trip could be said to have not been in vain. Of course, Lin Rei could clearly sense the hatred in Xueqi's heart. Lin Rei did not object to this as long as Xueqi did not threaten him. "I'll leave these people to you. It's up to you whether you want to kill them or keep them. Remember to be decisive." Lin Rei didn't even bother to look at the small fries that were frozen by him. He spoke to Xueqi and walked to the side. As for the spells on those people, Lin Rei didn't remove them. Although Xueqi's Supreme Grade Thunder Spirit Root was very difficult to deal with, Lin Rei felt ashamed of Xueqi's cultivation. Thank you, young master. This subordinate will definitely repay you with my body in the future. I will be loyal to you. I will not hesitate to climb a mountain of blades or plunge into a sea of flames. My respect for you is like a torrential river, continuous and unstoppable." Stop. Linley frowned when he saw how Xueqi was enjoying herself. He hurriedly called for her to stop because he didn't dare to imagine if Xueqi would say something even more disgusting if he didn't stop her. If that was the case, he definitely wouldn't be able to take it. Looking at Xueqi, Lin Rei said very seriously, "Remember, when you're with me in the future, speak as little as possible. It's best if you don't speak at all. You just have to wait for my secret realm. Do you understand? This is the first order that I've given you. I believe you won't disobey it." Hearing this, Xueqi looked embarrassed. Even a fool would know why Lin Rei was so straightforward, so, yes, this subordinate understands. In the end, Xueqi did not dare to disobey Lin Rei's order. He finally chose to compromise and stop talking. "Good. That's very good." With Xueqi's agreement, Lin Rei finally smiled. Perhaps he was happy because Xueqi had agreed to his conditions, or perhaps he was excited because Lin Rei had obtained a top-grade Thunder Spiritual Root. As for the details, no one knew except for Lin Rei himself. "Take your time. I'll wait." Without looking back, he turned and walked away. Looking at Lin Rei's back, Xueqi's face was full of gratitude. He secretly swore that as long as it was Lin Rei's enemy, he would do everything in his power to kill them. Even if the enemy's cultivation was much higher than his, Lin Rei did not know about this vow, but Xueqi really did fulfill it. In the end, he became Lin Rei's sharp blade. Once he did, blood would be shed. Staring at Linley's departing figure, Xueqi regained her coldness. A coldness that seemed to originate from the depths of hell could be felt. Within her eyes, a hint of killing intent flashed, without a trace. But just that trace of killing intent was enough to cause people to tremble in fear. Turning around, he looked at the people who had bullied him, punched and kicked him, and even wanted to beat him to death. He looked at the people who had once called him brothers. He looked at these ungrateful beasts. He looked at these people who had tried to divide the spoils and kill him because of the Xue family. Xueqi's heart was filled with endless hatred and killing intent. It seems the kid's heart is filled with hatred. I guess it's time to let him vent a bit. Otherwise, well, it's not a bad thing to have such a strong killing intent. Lin Rei's divine sense had not left Xueqing's position. He could sense Xueqing's killing intent, and Lin Rei knew exactly what was going on. If that's the case, then I'll... With a thought, he caused the minions who had been beating Xueqing to move their heads and regain consciousness. However, their bodies were so weak that they didn't seem to belong to them at all. They just stood there motionless. What's going on? Why is this happening? What the hell is going on? Who is it? Don't tell me he knows I'm the young master of the Su clan? Does he want to die? Fuck, who is it? How could he be so shameless as to sneak up on me from behind? What kind of cultivator is he? If he's got the guts, come out and fight me. There was no sound of a slap. Just as the crowd regained consciousness and realized what was going on, they began to hurl abuse at Lin Rei. However, even as they were hurling abuse at Lin Rei, a slap appeared out of nowhere and landed on his face. The sound of the slap was so loud and clear that it seemed to be filled with an intimidating power. Everyone who had been hurling abuse at Lin Rei stopped in their tracks. In the next moment, the people who were cursing all shut their mouths. Their faces were all filled with astonishment because the person they saw was none other than Xueqing, whom they had never expected to see. Everyone looked at Xueqing, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. They couldn't believe that Xueqing was the one who had been beaten half to death by them. But here came the problem. Everyone knew Xueqing's appearance very well. She was half dead and almost dead. But now, Xueqing didn't look like she was half dead at all. She was clearly a normal person who didn't have any injuries except for her pale face. She was clearly a normal person. You. Are you a human or a ghost? Why did your injuries heal in an instant? Are you Xueqing or... At this moment, the originally quiet scene was broken by the voice of someone in the field. This person was none other than the leader of a group of underlings, the so-called young master of the Su clan. He looked at Xueqing with a bewildered gaze. However, under his bewildered gaze, there was a deep sense of greed. In his opinion, the only thing that could heal his injuries in an instant was some heavenly treasure. He couldn't think of anything else. At this moment, if Xueqing knew what he was thinking, he would definitely burst out laughing. He didn't expect the Su clan to be such a fool who liked to imagine things. However, how could the current Xueqing possibly know what the young master of the Su clan was thinking? At this moment, he only wanted to take revenge. He wanted to take revenge for how they had treated him. He wanted to take revenge for not lending a helping hand to the Xue clan when they were in trouble, and instead ruthlessly stabbing the Xue clan in the heart. He wanted to take revenge for those who had once called him brothers, but in the end, stabbed him in the back, gloated over his misfortune, and hit him when he was down. Therefore, Xueqing only had one thought about the young master of the Su clan, and that was to kill him and take revenge. Heh, what do you think? Xueqing looked at the young master of the Su clan with a mocking expression. Do you think I'm a human or a ghost? You. Hearing Xueqing's words, the young master of the Su clan was stunned. He immediately recovered and said with a smile, so what if I'm a human or a ghost? If the heavens don't accept me, I'm a ghost. If the ghost domain doesn't accept me, I'm a god. Right now, I'm a human, a god, a ghost, and everything in the vast thousand domains. At this moment, when he said these words, Xueqing's body erupted with an aura that didn't lose out to his. Even Lin Rei, who was far away, felt this aura. Heh, it seems that this little fellow is quite something. I have to train him more in the future. Otherwise, it would be a pity to destroy such a good piece of material. With that, Lin Rei fell into silence. His consciousness was closely watching Xueqing's next move. In this regard, Lin Rei had no intention of interfering. What do you want? Looking at the current Xueqing, the young master of the Su clan was stunned. His heart was filled with an indescribable feeling. At this moment, he realized that he seemed to know the debauchee of the past. It seemed that the Xueqing in front of him wasn't the Xueqing he knew. However, the two of their faces were so shockingly similar. At this moment, the young master of the Su clan was stunned. He was completely stunned. Looking at the puzzled young master of the Su clan, Xueqing suddenly smiled. His smile was very sudden and without any warning. However, the young master of the Su clan didn't feel the slightest warmth from his smile. On the contrary, he felt endless coldness. It made his hair stand on end and he felt as if he had entered an ice cave. This feeling was very unpleasant, especially for the current him. He didn't expect that this feeling would come from the person he thought was trash. What do I want? You still have the nerve to say that? Don't you know how I treated you back then? Back then, your Su clan was about to disappear. It was I. It was I who begged my father to lend a helping hand to your Su clan. But what about you? How did you repay me? At this moment, it was as if Xueqi had gone mad. He roared at the young master of the Su clan. You repaid me at the cost of my Xue clan's annihilation. You repaid me by stabbing a bone-piercing cold knife into my heart. You repaid me at the cost of thousands of lives in my Xue clan. Now, you're telling me what I look like? At this moment, the young master of the Su clan was stunned on the spot after hearing Xueqing's words. Their eyes were lifeless as they recalled Xueqing who had helped them back then. But so what? In the face of benefits, brothers. They were meant to be betrayed. They weren't meant to share joys and sorrows, to live and die together. The moment you touched my Xue clan, the moment you touched my service, your life, the fate of your entire Su clan, was already sealed. Death. What? You? Hearing those words, the young master of the Su clan came back to his senses. Sensing the enormous killing intent, he was scared. It was only at this moment that he realized that he couldn't move at all. However, Xueqing was different. At this moment, he was scared. He was no longer the high and mighty young Master Su from before. Die! Ignoring young Master Su, a cold, 3-foot-long sword appeared in his hand, pulsing with cold sword energy that gave people the illusion that they wouldn't dare to look directly at it. Seeing this, young Master Su's eyes went wide, and he said in disbelief, Xueqing? No, Grandpa Xue, I beg of you, no. No, don't kill me. Have you forgotten that we're good brothers? Have you forgotten the happy times we had together? In order to survive, young Master Su didn't care about his own face. In the face of living, everything seemed so petty and pitiful. Beg for mercy? Brothers? Feelings? Hearing these harsh words, Xueqing felt a sharp pain in his heart. It was as if thousands of knives were stabbing his heart over and over again without stopping. When the thousand Xue clan members begged for mercy, did you ever think about the brotherly feelings between us? After the Xue clan was exterminated, did you ever think about the things you did to me? Did you ever think about those pitiful brotherly feelings? When I was down and out, did you ever think about those brotherly feelings? At this moment, young Master Su was silent. If that's the case, then why should I have brotherly feelings for you? With that, Xueqing took a step forward, arriving in front of young Master Su in an instant. He raised the sword in his hand and slashed at young Master Su's left ear. With a ripping sound, the sound of flesh being torn apart rang out, followed by young Master Su's blood-curdling scream. You're really... Could it be that you're not afraid of being hunted down by the Su clan? Could it be that you're not afraid that the Su clan... Rip. Following that, a sword light appeared, and young Master Su's right ear was separated from his body. It fell to the ground, blood spurting out, and young Master Su's blood-curdling screams continued. At this moment, Xueqing was in such a state. Other than young Master Su, everyone else was stunned. Their faces were filled with shock and fear. They had never seen Xueqing bathed in blood before. It was as if they didn't know him at all. At this moment, everyone looked at young Master Su's miserable appearance, and their hearts were in turmoil. They knew that the evaluation of young Master Su just now had been made by some of the people present, so fear had taken over everyone's hearts. They were afraid, and they regretted it. Chapter 857. What should I do? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I still have a lot of things to do. I still have parents who didn't die a good death. No, I can't. I can't die here. I still have a great time ahead of me. I still have. Don't. Grandpa Xue, oh no, ancestor, don't kill me. I still have a lot of things waiting for me. I don't want to die. I beg you, please don't do this. I will atone for my sins. Yes. I will atone for my sins. I will atone for my sins, okay? From now on, you are the master of all of us. From now on, we will obey your orders. We will not dare to neglect you. If we neglect you, we will die a horrible death. Oh, is that so? Hearing such a vicious oath, even though it sounded very loyal, if one were to look carefully, one would be able to detect a trace of viciousness in the eyes of the person making the oath. Even though it was only for an instant, even though it was hidden very deeply, Xueqi was able to sense it very clearly. Looking at him, Xueqi gave up on young Master Su. Then, with a bloodthirsty smile, she came in front of him. Looking at the person who made the oath so loyal, Xueqi jokingly said, "Look at how righteous you are. Then, are you also duty-bound and willing to die for me?" "What you?" The person was shocked. His eyes widened, and his pupils were filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe that Xueqi was still like this when he was already in such a state. What was even more unbelievable was that Xueqi had changed so much. She was clearly a trash who was being tortured to death before, but in the blink of an eye, she had become like this. What made it hard for him to control himself was his body. Except for his head, the rest of his body couldn't move. This was also the reason why he was tortured to death. He died. For you, for your family, for the wrongs that your family has done before, atone for your sins. Without waiting for the person who made the oath to speak, Xueqi waved her hand. A beam of light flashed along the person's neck and disappeared in an instant. Pff, the next moment, a scarlet color gushed out from the person's neck like a flood. The scene was so eye-catching that it made people's hair stand on end. Hiss! The Oath Keeper's death caused those who were still alive to suck in a breath of cold air. Their faces were pale and filled with fear as they watched their good friend of many years get killed so easily and die in such a tragic manner. Some people's faces turned as white as a sheet of paper the moment they saw this scene. Their legs gave way and they wanted to fall to the ground, but, to everyone's disappointment, their bodies seemed to be fixed in the air. They wanted to squat down, but they couldn't move. Don't be nervous, it will be your turn soon. Take your time and watch. Watch your friends, watch the brothers who once joined forces to destroy my Xue family, be killed one by one. I want you to live in fear, and when you die, you won't be able to reincarnate. At that moment, the crowd didn't know what to say. They wanted to beg for forgiveness, but when they saw how their friends had ended up begging for forgiveness, the words that they wanted to say came to an abrupt stop. Humph. With a cold snort, Xueqi walked up to young Master Su. Looking at his missing ears, Xueqi's heart was filled with satisfaction. Although he wasn't the real culprit, he was the son and disciple of the instigators. Xueqi was going to start his revenge from here. His revenge. He was going to make the clans who had destroyed the Xue clan regret what they had done. Young Master Su, it's your turn now. His voice was filled with endless hatred and killing intent. Of course, you're not the first, and you won't be the last. The Su clan, the Wu clan, the Lu clan. All of you participated in the destruction of the Xue family. All of you were groomed for the sake of the lives of the Xue family's more than 1,000 people. I want them to apologize to the Xue family. I want them destroyed. I want them to disappear from the God world and the universe. That was exactly what Xueqi was thinking at that moment. Not only that, he was going to punish all the vassals of the family who had stood by and watched with folded arms, especially his fiancée's family. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, laughter came from young Master Su's mouth. For some reason, there was bitterness and self-mockery in his laughter. Perhaps he felt that he had been so stupid, or perhaps he felt that he had lost a friend who had once been so sincere. Come on. Give me a quick death. Atone for what I've done. Atone for my betrayal. Atone for my ungratefulness. Come on. Kill me. Kill me, and everything will be over. Come on. Do it. Young Master Su seemed to have gone mad. Everyone present was stunned, and couldn't believe what they were hearing. Heh. Killing you is inevitable. Everything you said is true. As for ending everything. Heh. Do you really think that's possible? Do you really think your life is enough to make up for the loss of 1,000 lives of the Xue family? I've let you down. Young Master Su's face was filled with shame. A carefree smile appeared on his pale face. So, kill me. And let me atone for my sins. At this point, Xueqi hesitated and didn't say anything. When he heard young Master Su's words, he suddenly felt a bit of pity for him. Memories that he had thought he had forgotten resurfaced in his mind. The memories were full of the happy days he had with young Master Su. They talked, laughed, and cultivated together. Those were the happiest days of his life. But, sigh. Remember to be a good person in your next life. Don't be like you are now. Become a person you hate and go against your heart. In our next life, let's still be brothers, okay? Whoosh. A flash of light flashed. The moment young Master Su said the word brother, a bloody mark appeared on his heart. Blood gushed out like a fountain. His life force plummeted at a shocking speed. At this moment, young Master Su seemed to have forgotten the pain. He looked at Xueqi with a gentle smile and said the words he wanted to say without missing a single word. At this moment, when Xueqi heard young Master Su say the word okay, his hand trembled. The weapon fell from his hand and fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Looking at young Master Su, whose eyes gradually closed with a smile on his face, Xueqi, who had been silent for a long time, opened his mouth. In our next life, I will still be your brother. And in this life, I won't regret being your brother. Hearing this, everyone present was stunned. They never thought that Xueqi would say this. However, it was a pity that young Master Su couldn't hear it. His body slowly stiffened. When the last trace of vitality disappeared, his body finally fell back and lay on the ground, dead. Phew! After doing this, Xueqi let out a long breath. Then, the gentleness in his eyes turned cold again. His gaze fell on the other survivors, and a hint of ruthlessness instantly pierced into their hearts. Suddenly, Xueqi's gaze instantly shattered the last line of defense in everyone's hearts. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, Xueqi moved. With a knife in his hand, his figure disappeared in an instant. A figure flashed past. Puff, puff, puff. A series of sounds of flesh breaking were heard. In the next moment, a bloody mark appeared on the necks of the remaining survivors. It was a ghastly sight. It's done? At this moment, an ethereal voice came from afar. But this voice sounded as if it was right next to his ear. Of course, Xueqi knew this voice. He turned around and bowed in the direction of the voice. Yes, young master. This subordinate's matter is done. Well, that's good. Seeing how respectful Xueqi was, Lin Rei naturally felt it. After all, Lin Rei had the best thunder spiritual root. He had to carefully examine the character of the other party. Let's go. Lin Rei was satisfied with Xueqi. He nodded and walked towards the direction of the golden light. His speed wasn't very fast, but it was still a speed of 1,000 meters. After all, he had wasted so much time here. If he didn't hurry up, he was afraid that he would be delayed. As for Linley, he seemed to have forgotten something. Right now he just stood there, watching as Linley's body flashed and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already 100 meters away. Linley's face was filled with shock. F***CK, how am I supposed to follow him? He muttered in his heart. Although he thought so, the smile on his face didn't change. Although he thought so, in the end, he still had to follow closely. Sigh. With a sigh, Xueqi was full of helplessness. He instantly used his little bit of cultivation. Although he didn't cross 100 meters in one step like Lin Rei, it was still not bad. Although he couldn't completely catch up with Lin Rei, it was already quite difficult to follow Lin Rei. Just like that, a chase scene was played. One was running, and the other was chasing. This scene. However, as time passed, Lin Rei's speed became faster and faster. At the last step, Xueqi was speechless. He didn't know what to say. At this moment, Xueqi even had the heart to die. However, Lin Rei didn't know about Xueqi's thoughts. At this moment, Lin Rei only had one thought, and that was to quickly reach the location of the golden light. After all, not only was the banished immortal brush there, but more importantly, the method to complete the mission given by the system was there. It didn't matter who it was, as long as they got in the way, the only way was to kill. It didn't matter who they were, even if they were gods. Even if they were gods, he would kill them. Even if they were gods or Buddhas, Lin Rei would kill them without hesitation. After all, this mission concerned his life, and he didn't want to use it as a joke. After all, he only had one life. Even Lin Rei was no exception to the fact that he feared death. At the location of the golden light, a group of old men stood under the golden light. Every one of them looked like they were struggling. Their faces were pale, and they did not understand what was going on. What's going on? Why is this happening? Why is the banished immortal brush fighting back? Why is this happening? No, the banished immortal brush seems to have sensed something. It's like... Impossible, impossible. How is this possible? How can the banished immortal brush recognize a master at this time? It's an innate spiritual treasure. Moreover, it has already given birth to its own consciousness. Even if it doesn't recognize a master, it can transform into a human form after cultivating for 1,000 or 10,000 years. Don't talk about it anymore. This isn't the case, that isn't the case. Right now, the main problem is to suppress the banished immortal brush. After all, this has already been decided for the sect recruitment competition. If we change it now, wouldn't we lose a lot of face? That's right. If this happens, that stinking brat Xuanfeng will definitely use this time to laugh at us. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Their expressions were filled with agreement. Then they nodded at the same time and said, "That's right. Since it's like this, then cultivation. Take out your special skills." With this sentence, everyone's expression became serious and they immediately moved. Everyone explained and brought out their special skills in order to not let Xuanfeng see them as a joke. At this moment, while they were talking, a few figures quickly streaked across the sky and rushed toward the golden light. Their speed was so fast that it stunned everyone. Of course, these people were covered in wounds and bloodstains. They gave people the feeling that they were warriors who had just fought a bloody battle. Soon. This time, I must get a disciple. After all, the banished immortal brush is an innate spiritual treasure that can help me increase my spiritual force. At this moment, the young man who was rushing at the front was also the last person in the group. He held a 3-foot-long cold sword in his hand. He had the aura of a king with a sword in his hand. It was none other than Jian Feng, who had separated from Lin Rei and was trying to rope in Lin Rei. Along the way, Jian Feng had met many seniors who blocked his path. If it wasn't for his spiritual force sword technique and comprehension of the sword Dao, he was afraid that... Looking at the golden light in front of him, Jian Feng couldn't help but reveal a happy and proud expression. After all, he was the first person, the strongest existence among the newcomers. However, because he was excited, he didn't care about the others. Who would have thought that when Jian Feng was about to open his mouth and laugh, a black figure would flash past him and rush toward the golden light? Who? At this moment, seeing the black figure flash past him, Jian Feng immediately recovered from his arrogance. He shouted angrily and raised his hand. The 3-foot-long cold sword instantly rushed toward the back of the figure in front of him. Ha! Sword Qi? At this moment, the young man in front of Jian Feng, who was currently in the first place, suddenly stopped. He felt the powerful sword Qi rushing toward him from behind and a smile appeared on his face. You want to compete with my sword Qi? You're asking for a rebuff. At this moment, the young man was none other than Jian Feng. If Jian Feng saw the young man's face at this moment, he would immediately recognize him. Wasn't that Lin Rei who had frightened him before? At this moment, Lin Rei didn't look back. Feeling the shocking sword Qi behind him, he smiled. Then, his sword fingers instantly drew a faint light that rushed out and collided with the shocking sword Qi. Bang! There was a loud sound that seemed to penetrate the world. Is that all you've got? Chapter 858. Looking at the sword Qi that was easily destroyed, Lin Rei frowned. His heart was filled with displeasure and displeasure. Back then, when Jian Feng was using it, Lin Rei could feel a huge amount of sword Qi from his body. But now, when he used it, he was greatly disappointed. It was completely different from what he had expected. Sigh, flashy without substance. Too disappointing. Lin Rei's evaluation of Jian Feng was already considered polite. Otherwise, he wouldn't even care about Jian Feng. You. Although Lin Li's words were spoken in a very polite manner, the speaker's casual words had a hidden meaning behind them. Hearing this, Jian Feng frowned, his face filled with displeasure. Although he knew that the person in front of him did not want to reveal such a low level of power, but his dedication to the sword had been described as unbearable. Jian Feng was extremely angry. Boom. Oh, you're angry. Feeling Jian Feng's intent and the power that exploded from his body, Lin Rei's interest was piqued. Speaking of which, his understanding of the way of the sword was extraordinary after eating the sword-breaking pill. But unfortunately, his weapon was a spear, so, unforgivable, unforgivable. How can my way of the sword be judged by you? You, damn it. At this moment, Jian Feng was completely enraged. The long sword in his hand was instantly placed horizontally in the middle of the mountain. His face was filled with coldness. His entire body emitted a sword chi that was several times stronger than before. There was no trace of sloppiness. It was filled with stubbornness as it charged forward. In front of him, feeling the sword chi, Lin Rei's face that was originally masochistic revealed a hint of seriousness. When facing an enemy, Lin Rei always wanted to kill quickly. But Jian Feng was still not his enemy. Or it could be said that Jian Feng was not worthy of being his enemy. But Lin Rei was very optimistic about this sword chi. So, just this point alone made him have no choice but to be serious. Come. Even though you are talking, you are still waving the 3-foot cold light in your hand. Since you say that I cannot be forgiven and that I deserve to die, then bring out your full strength and let me see how strong the sword intent you have comprehended is. Let me see if it can kill me. Let me see if it can make you proud and let me... Although his tone was mocking, there was also a hint of seriousness in his tone. Of course at that moment, Jian Feng, who was already enraged by Lin Rei, only saw the ridicule on Lin Rei's face. He did not sense the hint of seriousness, the hint of respect for his opponent. The first move of the myriad sword technique, one sword to seal immortals. Suddenly, a horrifying aura rushed out from Jian Feng's body, and a shocking killing intent appeared. He mobilized the spirit chi in his body, and according to the first style of the 10,000 sword secret art, he poured in a 3-feet-long cold light, and stabbed it towards Lin Rei. Heh! Myriad sword art? At this moment, looking at the sword art displayed by Jian Feng, it was so familiar. Wasn't this the sword art that he obtained from the system in the immortal world? However, there was a difference. Aside from the names of the moves were completely different. But, looking at the familiar sword art, Lin Rei smiled. Isn't this the F*King sword art that I stopped cultivating long ago? Of course, although he knew, Lin Rei did not explain. After all, that sword art was something that Lin Rei practiced at that time, and he did not engrave it. Whoosh! The sound of a sword piercing through the air suddenly arrived. Raising his head, Lin Li saw the single sword of immortality charging towards him, and he laughed. TSK, since you are using the 10,000 sword secret art, then let's see if your 10,000 sword secret art is stronger or if my 10,000 sword secret art is stronger. While thinking, Lin Rei moved. His movements were slow, neither fast nor slow. He raised his hand and a sword art that was exactly the same as Jian Feng's 10,000 sword secret art rushed out. What? How is this possible? Jian Feng's eyes were wide open, filled with disbelief and astonishment as he stared in front of him. When Lin Li used the exact same sword technique as Jian Feng's mind suddenly went blank with a buzzing sound. What's going on? Why? Why does he know how to use the 10,000 sword secret art? Furthermore, he is even more proficient and powerful than me. Such a powerful sword energy, just who is he? Why have I never heard of such a person before? Furthermore, I have never heard of him before. Just who is he? Isn't the 10,000 sword secret art the sword sect's sword art? Why does he know how to use it? Could it be that he is from the sword sect? In an instant, countless thoughts and guesses appeared in Lin Rei's mind. No matter how he thought about it, he could not understand why the sword art that he was so proud of was so unsightly in the eyes of the person in front of him. Bang! A muffled sound rang out, accompanied by a burst of energy shockwaves. However, when the two sword skills collided, what made Jian Feng even more incredulous was that the moment the two sword skills collided, his sword skill was shattered by the same sword art as if it was nothing. There was not a single trace of sound. It was as if it was cutting tofu. The blade did not stop or pause in the slightest. Seeing that his sword did not stop at all as it rushed towards Jian Feng, Lin Rei revealed a smile on his face. Whoosh! A sword aura instantly cut through the air, bringing with it a sword cry as it flew towards Jian Feng. Where the sword aura flew past, the space began to distort, as if it was about to break free from the restraints of this space at any time and wanted to cut it into pieces. Not good. Even though he found it unbelievable that Lin Rei was able to use the 10,000 sword secret art sword cry, he was more concerned about his own survival. When he sensed the terrifying sword aura rushing towards him, Jian Feng shuddered and regained his senses. His face was filled with fear. However, just as the sword aura was about to reach him, Jian Feng raised the 3-feet-long chilling sword in front of his chest at lightning speed, mobilizing all of his cultivation in an attempt to block the sword aura that was rushing towards him. Too naive. As for Jian Feng's current appearance, Lin Rei only wanted to say that he was too naive. Other people might not know about his own sword aura, but he was very clear about it. Even though it was not as powerful as the divine clone Di Shirtian, who else in the entire divine world could stand shoulder to shoulder with Jian Feng other than Di Shirtian? He ignored Jian Feng because even if he did not look, he could already guess the result. He turned around and walked towards the golden light. His speed was not fast. After all, he had already entered the range of the golden light. Lin Rei did not want to attract too much attention and be investigated. Even so, even though he had slowed down, he still attracted the attention of the people from the Talisman Sect. This fellow is not simple. Even though his cultivation level is that of a true god, even a divine ancestor would not be able to easily block the sword aura just now. Why would such a person come to our Talisman Sect? Indeed, this person's face is ice-cold and his attacks are fast, ruthless and accurate. However, this kind of person is usually the most difficult to control. If we want to lock him in our sect. Hee. Sigh. At this moment, the faces of the group of old men in the golden light were filled with shock and amazement after witnessing the scene that Jian Feng had just witnessed. However, at the same time, there was a trace of uneasiness and hesitation under their admiring gazes. Bang! Kacha! Kacha! In the next moment, a sword aura instantly appeared in front of Jian Feng and collided with the 3-feet-long chilling sword that Jian Feng had blocked in front of his chest. However, Jian Feng did not expect that when the sword aura collided with the long sword, a crack would actually appear on the long sword in his hand. One must know that the long sword in his hand was no ordinary weapon. It was a half-sage weapon. Yet, it was actually shattered by a sword aura. Not only Jian Feng, even the refiner of this long sword would find it hard to believe this fact. Of course, other people might not know this, but Lin Rei knew very well that it was not something that could be shattered by his sword aura. However, it just so happened that Lin Rei was a weapon refiner. From the moment he saw Jian Feng's long sword, he could tell that although the long sword in Jian Feng's hand was a half-sage weapon, there was a small flaw in the middle of the sword. Although this flaw was usually invisible and would not affect the sword, if it was attacked by a powerful person, it would become like this. Although it was not completely broken, it was no different from being broken. After being broken halfway, all the essence within the sword had already escaped and it was no longer of any use. The long sword shattered and the sword aura cancelled it out. Jian Feng, who was connected to the long sword, felt a hot current rolling in his chest. He originally wanted to suppress it, but in the end, he could not hold it in and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face instantly turned pale. Jian Feng was speechless as he looked at the broken long sword in his hand. He did not expect things to turn out this way. He lifted his head and looked at Lin Rei's departing figure in bewilderment. Jian Feng's heart was already affected to a certain extent. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was the instigator of this entire incident, had already arrived within 20 meters of the golden light. He was undoubtedly the number one. However, Lin Rei did not give up and continue moving forward because his inconvenience was not being the number one here. Instead, it was being the owner of the banished fairy brush and the talisman grandmaster. All right, stop looking. Hurry up and leave. Otherwise you. However, at this moment, while Jian Feng was bewildered, an old man's voice that was filled with vicissitudes of life entered his ears. You are? You don't need to know who I am. You only need to know that now, you should try your best to fight for the number 2 position. The number 1 position. That person will definitely take it. Moreover, you are no match for him. His sword principle is stronger than yours and it is not just by a little bit. Upon hearing the mysterious old man's words, Jian Feng instantly frowned. Although he did not show it on his face, his heart was already filled with complicated feelings. The sword principle was the existence that he had been pursuing his entire life. It was his son. His final destination. Now, he had encountered someone who was even stronger than him in the sword principle. Moreover, the person was younger than him. This made him unable to accept it, but he could admit defeat. Just like what the old man had said, although the number 1 position was gone, the number 2 position was still there. He could not allow anyone to snatch it away because he would not allow it. As he thought about this, he cast aside these troublesome matters and put away the broken long sword in his hand. Then, he circulated his cultivation and chased after Lin Rei. Heh! Towards Jian Feng's reaction, a hint of a smile appeared at the corner of Lin Li's mouth. As a sword practitioner, if you can't even endure such a small setback, then you don't need to continue training in the Tao of the sword, because you aren't worthy. At this moment, Jian Feng once again embarked on his journey of the sword principle. This was his unwavering desire for the sword principle. Otherwise, 15 meters. At this moment, Lin Rei was 5 meters away from the standard. The faces of the people in the golden light were filled with anticipation. However, they did not know that they were about to face an existence that would give them a headache. 12 meters. Looking at the boundary in front of him, Lin Rei did not have a trace of excitement in his heart. After all, this was child's play. If it were not for the mission, he would not have come here to do such meaningless things even if he was beaten to death. 10 meters. Finally, he reached the 10 meters mark. At this moment, he looked at the center of the golden light and saw a brush floating in the air. On the shaft of the brush, 9 5-clawed golden dragons were engraved. Above the heads of the 9 5-clawed golden dragons, the words, "Banished Immortal of Heaven and Earth," appeared. TSK. This brush looks good. Just its appearance alone is enough to scare a group of people. I just don't know if it is really as good as the little dragon said. Thinking about it, Lin Rei shook his head indifferently. Anyway, the first time was not to get the Banished Immortal brush. Getting the Banished Immortal brush was just a matter of convenience. Therefore, Lin Rei did not care. You are the first place in the first round. You can choose to maintain this result and enter the sect to become a core disciple. Or you can continue to move forward. This is your choice. There is no need to force it. Suddenly, a middle-aged man's voice sounded from behind. From the voice, Lin Rei could hear the disdain and contempt. Sigh. Lin Rei did not pay too much attention to the words of the person behind him. Okay, I will continue. After saying that, he left without sifting. He ignored the person behind him and walked to the side. Wait. And then, just as Lin Li was about to leave and find a quiet place to wait, a weak voice suddenly rang out. You're right. Ha! He was familiar with this voice. It was Jian Feng's voice. Hearing this, Lin Rei turned around and looked up. At this moment, Jian Feng was looking at Lin Rei with a shameless attitude. That, can you tell me where you got the 10,000 sword art, the level of your sword Dao, and can you tell me about your understanding of the sword Dao? After saying that, he was afraid that Lin Rei would not agree. He quickly promised, as long as you tell me these, your reward will definitely not be low. How about it? Ha! Hearing Jian Feng's words, Lin Rei was speechless. This attitude was clearly very different from before. However, even so, Lin Rei would not say it. It was not that he did not want to, but that he did not care. After all, the level was there. Heh, smiling, Lin Rei said with disdain. You still do not understand the true sword Dao. Moreover, you do not have a sword heart. Even if I tell you, you will not understand. After saying that, Lin Rei turned around and left. He did not say anything else and did not look back. You still do not understand the true sword Dao. At this moment, Lin Rei's words were like a demon's voice that circulated endlessly in Jian Feng's mind. At this moment, in Jian Feng's world, there was only this sentence and nothing else. Chapter 859. Jian Feng, you're the second to arrive. May I ask if you still want to continue? If you don't, you can directly become a core disciple. I wonder what your choice is. I'll continue. Jian Feng did not hesitate at all. Previously, it was because of the Banished Immortal brush. Now, he had something else. It was none other than Lin Rei's sword Dao. He wanted to ask for guidance, or it could be said that he secretly learned it. After all, his dedication to the sword Dao was much greater than that of the banished immortal brush. Okay. Hearing Jian Feng's choice, a smile appeared on that person's face. Since that's the case, then go to the side and wait. Wait for the final trial. Okay. Jian Feng did not think much and did not say anything unnecessary. He glanced at the person in front of him and then looked in the direction of Lin Rei. Then, he walked towards Lin Rei. Although the words Lin Rei said before left a shadow in his heart that he could not erase for the rest of his life, for the sake of the sword Dao, he did not care. Seeing Jian Feng's action, the person in front of him sighed. Another lunatic who is addicted to the sword Dao. If your master was not so addicted to the sword Dao back then, I'm afraid he would not be the sword sect's supreme elder now. He would be the previous sect leader. However, he only sighed. His expression was filled with regret. He did not think much about it and continued to talk. He looked forward and waited. You're still following me? At this moment, when he arrived at the designated waiting area and felt Jian Feng's presence, Lin Rei frowned. He was unhappy and turned around to ask. I want to learn the sword Dao. I want to use the myriad sword technique like you. I thought I understood the myriad sword technique very well. However, when I saw you use the myriad sword technique, I realized that the myriad sword technique I used was just the tip of the iceberg. I want to learn. I want to. Impossible. How could Lin Rei not know what Jian Feng was thinking? Previously, he wanted to kill him. Now, he wanted him to teach him the sword technique and experience. Moreover, he wanted him to help him improve his sword Dao cultivation. Haha. Lin Rei only wanted to laugh. It wasn't that Linley was stingy, but rather, it wasn't just Linley himself. Even if it were anyone else, upon hearing how difficult it was to obtain a sword, they wouldn't agree. For no other reason than he was asking for too much. Why? Seeing Linley reject him so decisively, Jian Feng felt a wave of helplessness and powerlessness in his heart. He hadn't expected that Linley would be so merciless. After all, they had known each other for a while. No reason, I just don't want a hand, I want it. With a cold expression, he found a clean spot and sat down cross-legged. Then, he closed his eyes and began to cultivate. However, upon seeing Linley's reaction, Jian Feng refused to give up. Senior, please, teach me the Dao of the sword, teach me the myriad sword technique. I am the disciple of a high elder of the sword sect, and my master is a hierarch. If you, scram. A muffled sound came from Jian Feng's mouth. In the next moment, blood flowed out from his mouth. His face turned pale and his body trembled. He looked like he was about to fall. At this moment Linley, who had his eyes closed, was staring at Jian Feng with a cold, murderous look in his eyes. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Originally, Lin Rei had a good impression of Lin Rei. But now, after hearing what Jian Feng said, Lin Rei was completely disappointed. What did he mean? Was the Supreme God's master threatening him? Haha. So what if he was the Supreme God's master? Would Lin Rei be afraid? Of course, if it was someone else, after hearing that Jian Feng had a Supreme God as a master, they would not hesitate to tell him everything they knew. After all, if they could hug the Supreme God's thigh, their life would be comfortable and they would not have to suffer the cruelty of the cultivation world. His cold eyes stared at Jian Feng. A murderous intent soared into the sky. At this moment, even the 4 old men in the golden light and 10,000 meters in the sky were alarmed. Did you know? The thing I hate the most in my life is when others threaten me. Do you believe that I won't kill you in a matter of minutes? As for your Supreme God's master, and the entire sword sect you speak of, I don't believe that he will dare to attack. If he attacks, then there will be no place for them in the entire God realm. Not only the God realm, but I will also make it impossible for them to establish themselves in the Nether realm, Demon realm, Azura realm, Demon realm and all the other realms. At this moment, Lin Rei did not speak. Instead, he sent a voice transmission to Jian Feng. After all, if those people from the Talisman sect heard what he said, then what he would do in the future would not be so simple. Jian Feng stopped abruptly. He stood there in a daze when he heard Lin Rei's words. His expression was filled with terror. For some reason, he believed everything Lin Rei said. Even when Lin Rei was speaking, the scene of the sword sect and his master being chased and killed clearly appeared before his eyes. Humph! When he saw Jian Feng's stunned appearance, Lin Rei snorted coldly and extended his divine sense. When he noticed that all the old fellows from the Talisman sect were looking at him, Lin Rei was stunned. Only then did he realize that his loss of control and exposed killing intent had drawn their attention. Alas! Looks like I was too careless. My mental state is so weak. Looks like I have to temper my mental state more. Otherwise, it was unknown what Lin Rei had thought of, but he remained silent and shook his head fiercely. He did not want to think anymore. He ignored Jian Feng and returned to normal. He closed his eyes and rested. He did not want to think anymore. At this moment, Lin Rei did not know. Because his moment of rashness had attracted the attention and vigilance of the Talisman sect's higher-ups. At this moment, Xueqi, who was in the distance, was looking at Lin Rei, who had his eyes closed. The disdain from before was gone. Instead, it was filled with a strong sense of vigilance. Not to mention him, he had never seen such a powerful existence in the entire God realm when he saw the killing intent emitted by Lin Rei earlier. At this moment, he was vigilant. He was afraid. He did not know why Lin Rei, who possessed such a powerful strength, would come to the Talisman sect. However, he did not dare to be careless. Because the Talisman sect was his and no one could take it away from him. At this moment, Xueqi decided in his heart that he would give up his life to stop anyone who took the Talisman sect from him. It was for no other reason than the Talisman sect was given to him by his master who had passed away. He could not let down his master who had raised him. You must keep a close eye on this person. You must inform me of everything as soon as possible. In the future, you must report to me every 3 days. No, every half a day. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. I will follow Sect Master's orders. At this moment, a charming voice sounded from a place where no one was around. It was impossible to tell whether the voice was male or female, nor was it possible to tell whether the voice was old or young. The only thing that was clear was that it was a person. Yes, you may go. He nodded and did not say anything else. His eyes were fixed on Lin Rei and he continued to stare at him as if he wanted to see through Lin Rei. Why would such a person come to our Talisman sect? This shouldn't be the case. Why would this be? Yes, why would such a person do this? This shouldn't be the case. Besides the banished immortal brush, there doesn't seem to be anything else in our sect that could interest him, right? Yes, at this moment, Lin Rei, who was immersed in the pleasure of cultivation, did not know that his moment of carelessness had caused the higher-ups of the Talisman sect to be on guard against him. Time passed bit by bit. The sun slowly set and night was about to arrive. At this moment, more than 10 people had arrived at the 10-meter mark and passed the first round of tests. Moreover, they had completed the test in a way that exceeded everyone's expectations. Among these 10 people, there were 2 or 3 women. As for the rest, they were all men. In fact, one of them was even a child. This person was none other than Xueqi. With Lin Rei's help, even though his cultivation had not broken through, it was still easy for him to reach this place. As for those who reached the 30-meter mark, there were more than 100 people. Those who were able to reach the 30-meter mark were the elite disciples of various sections. As for the remaining people, some of them had already reached the edge. However, due to their own reasons they could only be eliminated in the end. As for those who did not come, they were basically eliminated halfway. Of course, the middle-aged man who announced the results was very satisfied with these people. After all, it was already very good for them to be able to draw out so many cultivators in such a difficult competition. The middle-aged man was overjoyed as he looked at them. Everyone, those who can reach the 10-meter mark will directly become a core disciple of the sect. Those who can reach the 20-meter mark will become an inner disciple of the sect. Those who can reach the 50-meter mark will be able to enter the second round of tests. As he spoke, his gaze swept across the surroundings and his expression was filled with gratification. Now there are 2 choices in front of you. First, you can enter the sect and not continue. Second, you can continue and participate in the final test for the banished immortal brush. What do you choose? Hearing these choices, the crowd hesitated. Of course, There were pros and cons to these two choices. After all, it was a connate spiritual treasure that was so tempting. Who could resist such temptation? 10 minutes later, the crowd fell silent. The scene fell into silence. No one spoke, and there was no discussion. This matter was their own matter. Even the people around them would become their enemies. At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with torment, conflict, and difficulty to choose. All right, the choice is over. Tell me your choice. At this moment, the middle-aged man frowned and a trace of displeasure appeared on his face. Those who choose to continue, stand on the left. Those who choose to enter the sect, stand on the right. Let's begin. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, the crowd began to divide into groups. Most of them chose to continue, and only a small number chose to give up. After all, the temptation of a connate spiritual treasure was fatal. Seeing that the crowd had neatly divided themselves, the middle-aged man, who was originally displeased, smiled. All right, since you've chosen to continue, then those who choose to enter the sect may leave. There will be disciples outside who will lead you into the sect. As for the remaining disciples who want to continue with the gift, stand where you are and wait. The test will begin soon. Yes, we'll obey. Hearing the middle-aged man's instructions, the disciples who chose to enter the sect left. As for him, he also walked towards the depths of the golden light. Phew, seeing the middle-aged man leave, the crowd heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed. In another place, two people were alone. One of them was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed, resting, while the other was standing where he was in a daze, not knowing what to do. He had heard the middle-aged man's choice, but seeing that Lin Rei was not moving, he did not dare to move. Because of what had happened before, he was afraid. However, after a while, Lin Rei was still in the same state, like an old monk in meditation. In the end, there was nothing he could do. Say, Senior, that the next round of the test is about to begin. Do you? Suddenly Linley, who had been in the middle of cultivation, frowned, retracted his cultivation base, and withdrew from his cultivation. When he opened his eyes, a glint flashed across them. Is it starting? Looking at the crowd gathering in the distance, the frown on his face relaxed, and a look of anticipation appeared on his face. Got it. You can go now. Lin Rei did not have anything to say to Jian Feng's reminder. After all, Jian Feng's foolish actions had made Lin Rei feel disgusted. Yes. Without saying anything else, Jian Feng turned around and left with a dejected figure. Come out. At this moment, as soon as Jian Feng left, Linley's gaze swept the area where there was no one as he spoke. You're not coming out? His gaze locked into the distance, and seeing that there was no reaction, a cold smile appeared on his face. Since that's the case, don't blame me. Just a moment ago, when Jian Feng woke him up, he felt that someone was staring at him. For a moment, an unknown flame ignited in his heart. Whoosh, a sword light, carrying a cold killing intent, rushed towards the direction of the gaze. It was as fast as lightning. What? Whoosh, a scream was heard, and a black figure appeared where Lin Rei's gaze was locked on. A black-clothed man appeared, and seeing the sword light rushing towards him, the black-clothed man's face was filled with shock and anxiety. However, this was not the time for him to be in a daze. The killing intent emitted from the sword light caused the black-robed man's scalp to go numb and his face to turn pale. He used his cultivation base and displayed his fastest speed. In the end, he narrowly avoided the attack. Even so, a scarlet wound appeared on his arm. Hiss! Feeling the pain on his arm, the black-clothed man turned his head to look. When he saw the wound, his eyes widened, and he sucked in a breath of cold air. How is this possible? The black-clothed man was very clear about his cultivation, and he did not expect that he would be injured by a young man. Speak. Why are you staring at me? Who sent you? Lin Rei did not care about the black-clothed man's words, and he went straight to the point. I am. At this moment the black-clothed man, who was still in shock, subconsciously wanted to reply. However, the moment he opened his mouth, the black-clothed man came back to his senses, and quickly swallowed the words he wanted to say. Chapter 860. I was only passing by. It just so happened that... At this moment, the black-clothed man hurriedly organized his thoughts and spoke. Heh. Just happened to pass by? Lin Rei was speechless when he saw that the black-clothed man was able to lie without blushing. He had been there since the beginning and had been staring at this place. If he was just passing by, he would not have stayed here for such a long time. Furthermore, he had only appeared after the black-clothed man had unleashed his murderous aura. Therefore, Lin Rei would not believe the black-clothed man's nonsense of merely passing by. That's right, I was just passing by. However, the black-clothed man's eyes were like lightning as he stared at Lin Rei. A trace of iciness was released from his eyes as he said, "However, I was just passing by and had actually discovered a powerful cultivator like you. I'm a little puzzled. May I know if you can give me the answer I want?" "Heh, tell me. It depends on my mood. If I'm in a good mood, I'll tell you. If I'm in a bad mood." TSKSK. Lin Rei was well aware of the black-clothed man's thoughts. "Therefore, I'm even more curious." The black-clothed man stared at Lin Rei as he spoke. "I'm even more curious as to why a powerful existence like you would come to my symbol sect. Moreover, why would you participate in such a meaningless competition? It should be extremely easy for you to obtain the first place, right?" "That's right." Lin Rei shrugged his shoulders in disbelief. Obtaining the first place is indeed extremely easy and effortless. In fact, it would be the same if I were to kill you. However, so what? I am doing what I like. Are you going to stick your nose into this as well?" A sharp gaze shot towards the black-clothed man as he spoke. The black-clothed man was stunned when he sensed Lin Rei's gaze. His body instinctively took a step back, and his body even instinctively assumed a defensive posture. "Are you afraid of me?" Lin Rei asked with interest as he stared at the black-clothed man's defensive posture. Lin Rei was exceptionally patient when it came to the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man subconsciously wanted to reply to Lin Rei's question. "I am more curious. You said that you like it, but I do not believe that you do not have any other needs in the symbol sect. Furthermore, this exalted believes that your strength has already. I believe that in the divine realm, only a certain class of people would dare to use this title. What I am more curious about is who gave you the courage to do so." "Heh, who gave me the guts?" Looking at the man in black, Lin Rei suddenly had the urge to laugh, but at this moment he was talking to him. It was actually quite interesting. The man in black didn't believe that he was a divine venerable cultivator because he didn't believe that a divine venerable cultivator would be so bored as to come to the talisman sect to do something so boring. Furthermore, the Lin Rei before him was simply too young. He did not believe that such a young person would actually be in existence that stood at the apex of the divine realm. He did not believe, nor did he dare to think in that direction. Therefore, he subconsciously led the indicator that was originally leading in the right direction to the wrong path again. "That's right. Who gave you the courage? You should know that if a divine venerable cultivator were to find out what you call yourself, I'm afraid you won't be able to live for long." Of course, the man in black who wanted to see Lin Rei's frightened expression was filled with disappointment. That was because not only was there no fear on Lin Rei's face, there was even a tearful expression on his face. His gaze was as if he was looking at a fool. The man in black was puzzled by Lin Rei's expression. However, he continued to talk to himself, "If you are going to talk about me, then I will not tell anyone about this. Perhaps I will even give you a position in the talisman sect. What do you think?" Clap, clap, clap. Suddenly, a round of applause was heard. "You are truly amazing. Giving this exalted a position in the talisman sect? You are truly amazing." However, Lin Rei's originally gentle voice was instantly filled with coldness. "However, I am simply not interested in the position that you are talking about. You are unable to give me the position that I like. Tell me, what do you think this time? What position do you want?" At this moment, the man in black's heart suddenly trembled. A bad premonition surged into his heart. For some unknown reason, he had a slight guess about the position that Lin Rei wanted. However, the moment this thought appeared, he immediately killed it in the cradle. That was because that position was not something that anyone could obtain just because they wanted it. Moreover, he subconsciously did not think that the person before him was a match for the talisman sect's sect master, Sun Feng. Lin Rei looked at him and the man in black. Then, he slowly opened his mouth and spoke very clearly. "The position that I want to sit in is your talisman sect master's position. Although it is not very comfortable to sit there, I have no choice. I have no choice but to do it. What do you think? Sure enough, the bad feeling in his heart completely surfaced. The thought that he had already killed was completely exposed at this moment. The man in black's face was filled with shock and disbelief as he looked at Lin Rei. He really could not understand where the person before him got his confidence from. He actually wanted to sit in that position. Although he did not believe it, the confident expression on Lin Rei's face caused the man in black to subconsciously begin to believe it. Moreover, this kind of belief was gradually increasing. Don't be nervous. I am not a barbaric person. I am a very cultured person. I will not use any other methods other than convincing people with reason. Lin Rei did not lie to him about this. After all, this was a rule set by the system. He could not use any external force. Moreover, what made Lin Rei even more speechless was that he could not use any force during the entire process. Otherwise, Lin Rei could finish him off with a single spear. Ha! Ha ha, the man in black laughed. However, his laughter was even uglier than crying at this moment. He really could not understand why the person in front of him was acting like this. Laugh all you want. However, you can only laugh here. Moreover, don't even think about bringing this matter out. Moreover, don't even think about challenging my bottom line because you can't afford it. Whoosh, after saying that, Lin Rei's figure instantly became illusory. In the end, he disappeared. The entire process did not even take a second. Hiss. At this moment, the man in black could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. His eyes widened and his face turned pale. His face was filled with malevolence. At this moment, sweat flowed freely from his forehead. Droplets of sweat dripped onto the ground. His heart was filled with fear. At this moment, at the neck of the man in black, there was a long sword with lightning. The sound of the lightning was like the sneer of the Grim Reaper. Do you remember what I said just now? A cold voice came from behind him. Hearing this, the man in black did not dare to turn his head. At this moment, his body was so weak that it stiffened on the spot. He could not control himself. I heard it. TSK, although I heard your reply, but I am still a little worried. Tell me, what else can I do? Hearing this, the man in black cried. F***CK, I already promised you. What else do you want? What do you want? Of course, he could not say this out loud. He did not want his head to be separated from his body in the next moment. Silence. At this moment, the man in black could only choose to remain silent. He did not know what to say. In the end, he could only choose to remain silent. After all, silence was golden. Silence represented everything. Oh, you still want to play silence with me? Seeing the man in black silence, Lin Rei smiled. All right, since you are silent, let me handle this. After saying that, he did not give the man in black any time to think. With a thought, a soul-controlling pill appeared in his hand. Whoosh! A ray of light appeared in an instant. In the end, it rushed into the man in black's mouth at an extremely fast speed. Gulp. Subconsciously, the man in black swallowed the soul-controlling pill in his mouth. However, in the next moment, when the man in black came back to his senses, his face was as pale as paper. After such a long time, how could he not know the meaning of the thing he ate? In the next moment, the man in black wanted to dig his throat and vomit out the thing that went into his mouth. However, Lin Rei's voice sounded in his ears. Don't waste your effort. Don't waste your energy. There's no other way. That thing is an elixir. It melts in the mouth. Moreover, it's hard to find an elixir for this lord. You can't even buy one outside. This was a joke, but it was also true. After all, it was indeed hard to find an elixir for a saint-level elixir. Perhaps even the saints of the holy world would beg Lin Rei to refine pills for them if they knew that Lin Rei was a saint-grade alchemist. What did you feed me? The man in black roared. Soul-controlling pill. It is a type of pill that can control you. However, don't worry. Knowing the man in black's worries, Lin Rei comforted him. Don't compare my pill with those fake pills. My pill will only make you respect me. It will not make you speak of our conversation. As for other things, such as controlling your body and consciousness, trust me, it will not happen. The man in black did not want to believe Lin Rei's words. However, who knew that just as the thought of disbelief appeared, a mysterious energy would instantly kill it. In the end, other than his trust in Lin Rei, there was nothing else. At this moment, the man in black was extremely shocked. He had never heard of this pill before. However, it was just as he said. If this pill could be mass-produced, then stop thinking about it. Just as the man in black thought of this, he heard Lin Rei's warning. He immediately trembled and nodded, not daring to act rashly. The effect is not bad. Lin Rei was quite satisfied with the man in black's current reaction. Tell me, what is your name? Who sent you? What do you want? After speaking so much nonsense, the main topic had arrived. Master, this subordinate is Xueqi. I am the leader of the secret guards in the Talisman Sect. Previously, Xuanfeng sensed that something was wrong with Master and was very afraid of Master. Therefore, he sent this subordinate to keep an eye on you and report back after half a day. Xueqi. Hearing how obedient Xueqi was, Lin Rei smiled. However, after hearing the man's intention, a chill rose from the bottom of his heart and instantly soared. Xuanfeng, the sect master of the Talisman Sect. I didn't expect that you would take the initiative to come here before I went to look for you. However, this is also good. It saves me the trouble of looking for you. As he spoke, he looked at Xueqi and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Master you, although he had eaten the soul-controlling pill, he still had his own consciousness. Seeing how affectionate Lin Rei was, Xueqi immediately knew that someone was going to be in trouble. I have a mission for you. Master, please tell me. Since Xuanfeng asked you to keep an eye on me, you will continue to keep an eye on me. Plop. Before Lin Rei could finish his words, Xueqi's body trembled and he knelt on the ground. His body was trembling slightly as though he had experienced something terrifying. Get up first and listen to me. Lin Rei felt a little helpless in the face of Xueqi's reaction. Oh. Xueqi replied and stood up respectfully. He lowered his head and did not dare to speak. He did not even dare to look at Lin Rei directly. Sigh. Seeing how Xueqi was behaving, Lin Rei was too lazy to correct him. Follow Xuanfeng's instructions and report back after half a day. Of course, the most important thing is that you have to reveal my matters to him bit by bit. As for the other matters, you don't have to worry about them first. Hearing Lin Rei's instructions, Xueqi's eyes were filled with doubt. Although he was filled with doubts, he still nodded his head. All right, that's good. You may go. Waving his hand, Ren Baqian asked Xueqi to leave. Yes, I will take my leave now. Although Xueqi was filled with doubts, he still endured it and left. On the other side, all right, the second round of the competition is about to begin. The gathering of cultivators will begin immediately. The middle-aged man who had left earlier returned and announced. In an instant, the crowd exploded. It's about to begin? In the distance, when Ren Baqian heard the middle-aged man's words, he smiled and said to himself. Then, he flashed into the crowd. The next round will be a duel. It's a last-minute decision. For the sake of the safety of their cultivators, the top 10 can enter and be subdued. What? Hearing the middle-aged man's decision, some of the people present were stunned. They did not expect the competition to be decided at the last minute. However, they had no choice. After all, this was the Talisman Grandmaster and not their home. In the end, they could only accept it. The top 10? However, Lin Rei, who was in the crowd, had an interesting smile on his face. To him, no matter how many stages there were, they would be useless. They would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. You don't have to participate. The sudden words caused Linley, who had been interested, to be stunned. Who do you think you are? At this moment, Lin Rei was extremely depressed. Mother Fastress Kerr, why is there no end to this? Previously, there was one, and now there's another. Who I am is not important. At this moment, a man who had appeared behind Lin Rei out of nowhere stared at Lin Rei with a hint of hesitation in his eyes. Not important? Without turning around, Ren Baqian continued to look ahead with disdain in his heart. Indeed, it's not important.
You.
Even though the old man had said it previously, it had a different meaning when it came from Lin Rei's mouth.
What about you? Don't play with me. Why don't you let me participate? You.
I believe that you must have hidden your cultivation. Furthermore, are you sure that your cultivation is suitable for you to participate? But, even though the old man was right, this did not mean that he would give up. Turning around, the old man's face appeared in front of Lin Rei. Looking at him, Lin Rei's voice was filled with determination. Even though it's not suitable, but I want. As he spoke, he lifted his finger and pointed at the floating banishing immortal brush in the golden light with an excited look on his face. Chapter 861. When the old man saw that Lin Rei had completely disobeyed his orders, he felt as if he had lost all his dignity. His anger instantly soared to the sky. This was the first time he had been disregarded and disobeyed by a senior ever since he had started cultivating. How could he possibly endure this?
Why? Do you want to fight me?
Lin Rei looked at the old man with disdain. Deep down, he was looking forward to the old man making a move. After all, he would then have a reason to make a move without knowing the rules of the system's mission. When that time comes, everyone would make a move and destroy all the higher-ups in the Symbol Sect. He believed that it would not be difficult for him to become the Sect Master of the Symbol Sect. Furthermore, the system had said that he would become the Sect Master of the Symbol Sect. However, it did not say how long it would take. Therefore, in Lin Rei's opinion, the system was not omnipotent. However, reality was always different from one's imagination. The more one thought about it, the less likely the situation would develop. The originally incomparably calm old man was originally on the verge of going berserk. However, who would have thought that just as the other party was about to do something, he would instantly restrain himself. His malevolent face revealed a smile that was even uglier than crying. All right, since you don't want to withdraw, then forget it. The Symbol Sect has always won people over with virtue. Since you want to participate, I will not stop you, huh? Puzzled, he looked at the old man. Linley was completely bewildered. What was the meaning of his earlier words? What happened to his previous impulse? What happened to his previous impulse to attack? What the hell is going on? Why did it turn out like this in the blink of an eye? What is he trying to do? My time is limited, okay. His heart was going crazy, but he could not show it in the end. All he could do was wait quietly for the next step. His original shortcut had been ruined by this idiot in front of him. At this moment, he had entered Lin Rei's blacklist. All right, if you want to participate, go ahead. I look forward to your next performance. He spoke in a gentle tone like a gentle and quiet old man. It was a stark contrast to his hideous appearance from before. Puffed. Lin Rei rolled his eyes at the old man and let him experience it for himself. He then walked forward and distanced himself from the old man. Humph, little bastard, just you wait. Once this is over, I'll kill you. Standing in place and looking at Lin Rei's back, the tranquility on his face disappeared and was replaced by endless hatred and malevolence. Of course, the crowd did not notice it. After all, he was an elder of the Talisman Sect. Thus, he had already placed some talismans on his body when he arrived here. Unless he wanted others to see it. Grandfather. A weak voice came from behind. A young man in white clothes walked out from behind. His overall appearance was not bad, and he looked calm. His skin was as white as snow, and his skin was like ice. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were like stars. One look at his deep eyes and you would be deeply attracted. Chen-er. However, when he heard that voice, the originally ferocious expression on the old man's face quickly changed, and a smile appeared on his face. It could be seen that the expression on the old man's face was sincere. His eyes couldn't lie. That pair of doting eyes, unless it was his true feelings, otherwise. Jin Chen was the grandson of the elder of the Talisman Sect, Jin Buhuan. His cultivation was extremely powerful, and he was a divine guard. Moreover, his talisman Dao had already reached the heaven grade. It could be said that he was a rare talent in the Jin family. Jin Buhuan was referring to the old man in front of him. At the same time, he was also the third elder of the Talisman Sect. His cultivation had already reached the late Divine Emperor realm. "Grandfather, the competition is about to begin.
What are you doing here?" Jean Chen asked curiously.
I'm here to see a little fellow." As if he was afraid that his grandson would see through his intentions, he quickly changed the topic.
All right.
Do your best during the competition.
Safety comes first. Do you understand?
At this moment, Gold Unchangeable was the embodiment of a warm grandfather's love for his grandson. It was no longer as spicy as before.
I understand.
Don't worry, I'll remember. Jean Chen chuckled when he saw his grandfather's concern. He then waved his hand and said, "That's all. Grandfather, I'll go first." Then, without waiting for Jean Buhuan to speak, Jean Chen jogged away from the crowd and walked forward. Looking at his grandson's departing figure, Jean Buhuan sighed, his face full of helplessness.
Why is my grandson so weak? Why does he have to let nature take its course? Your father isn't like you either. Whose son are you?
Sometimes, Jean Buhuan really suspected that Jean Chen wasn't his grandson. After all, the characters of his father and grandfather were completely different from his. They were two completely different versions.
Of course, this was just a thought. He didn't think too much about it.
After all, he was the one who watched his grandson being born.
Forget it.
Do whatever you want. As long as you're not in danger, I don't have any extravagant hopes. He sighed and looked in the direction that Jean Chen left. Then, he turned around and left the crowd. In a flash, he walked into the depths of the golden light. "Everyone, let's start drawing lots." At this moment, the middle-aged host said, "There are a total of 240 numbers here. Both groups are the same. Each of you will have to draw a number.
I'll shout.
Whoever has that number will come up here," and so on. After all the written tests are over, we'll draw lots, and so on until the last 10 are chosen. Everyone, if there's anything you don't understand, please ask. If not, let's begin. After he said that, there was a moment of silence in the hall. No one said anything, and they just stood there in a daze. In response, the middle-aged man nodded.
"All right, since that's the case.
You can start drawing lots now." Then the middle-aged host took out rows of jade slips. At this moment, everyone moved. Everyone went up the mountain and drew their own jade slips. They were very nervous. At this moment, the person who had been standing there until everyone had drawn their lots slowly went up and picked up the last jade slip. He opened it and saw that one word was carved on it. Number 1. When he saw the number that he had drawn, a smile appeared on his face.
I didn't expect it to be so fast.
I didn't expect to be the first to go up. He wasn't dissatisfied with the number that he had drawn because it didn't matter to him. After all, there was another person in the crowd who was worth his time.
Damn, it can't be. Number 2.
Why am I the second to go up? At this moment, a young man looked at the number that he had drawn with a bitter expression.
Aya, it's fine. We have to go up in the morning and at night.
In my opinion, it's better to save time at night. That way, we won't feel pressured.
You're right. All right, don't be upset.
There are countless experts here. Anyway, you don't have any hope of entering the Talisman Grandmaster.
Just come here to play. Don't be too serious. If you're serious, you'll lose.
That's... really. At the side, a smile appeared on his face when he heard their conversation. However, he had to admit that although it sounded a little unreliable, he realized that it was right after he thought about it. It wasn't just him. A portion of the people in the crowd who had drawn the number near the front also had the same expression.
Lin Rei was speechless.
A few minutes later, the middle-aged man in charge of the crowd said, "All right, I believe that you've all drawn your number.
Remember him.
Perhaps he'll be your opportunity." As he spoke, he didn't wait for the crowd to refute him and continued, "Since that's the case, let's begin. Now, let's invite number 1 to the arena to compete." After he finished speaking, the middle-aged man waved his hand. A huge arena suddenly appeared in an open space not far away. A whoop sound was heard and the crowd went into an uproar. Everyone was from a clan or sect. Naturally, their horizons were not low. When they saw the arena, The words late stage of the divine level appeared in their minds. Damn, how extravagant.
A divine weapon so casually appeared. TSK. As expected of a large sect. It's really amazing. That's right.
Hearing the crowd's discussion, the middle-aged man in charge of the crowd in the distance revealed an indescribable smile on his face.
It was as if the crowd wasn't praising the arena but him. A bunch of bumpkins. It's just a late-stage divine weapon. Is there a need to be so excited? Really? At this moment, the crowd didn't know what Lin Rei was thinking. If they knew, they would definitely glare at him fiercely. Moreover, if they knew that Lin Rei could refine divine weapons, they would be even more speechless. Some of them would even say, "Damn you, you think you're so great because you're a weapon refiner? Divine weapons are divine weapons. You can be arrogant if you're a weapon refiner, but we're not." Of course, the crowd didn't know what Lin Rei was thinking, let alone what he was thinking. Looking at the arena taking shape, Lin Rei smiled disdainfully. Then, he stepped out of the crowd and walked toward the arena. Although his speed wasn't fast in the eyes of the crowd, what was strange was that Lin Rei arrived in front of the arena very quickly. As for the other person, he was stunned when he heard his name being called. Then, he slowly walked out of the crowd and finally came to the arena. Looks like there's no suspense in this round. At this moment, Jian Feng, who was in the crowd, looked at the contestant who was going to fight with Lin Rei. For a moment, a look of disdain and pity appeared on his face. TSK, I hope this person can be more open-minded after this experience. Don't be so stubborn. Sigh. At this moment, in the crowd, Xueqi, who had the same thought as Jian Feng, also felt pity for that person. They were very clear about Lin Rei's strength, so they were in awe and pity for the stranger in the arena. They were in awe because that person dared to fight with Lin Rei, and pity because they sympathized with that person's luck. In the first round he met Lin Rei, who was an insurmountable mountain. Okay, contestants, get ready. Let's begin. At this moment, the middle-aged man gave the order. Suddenly, layers of energy rose up and enveloped the arena. Ha! Looking at the middle-aged man's action and the protective shield around the arena, a look of disdain appeared on his face. Looking up at his opponent, Lin Rei kindly advised, "Kid, it's not too late to back out now. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen later." What? Although there was an energy shield around the arena, the crowd could clearly hear their conversation. However, at this moment, when they heard Lin Rei's words, the crowd was in an uproar. Even the middle-aged host was in an uproar. There hasn't been such an arrogant person in the past. It seems like this is the first time. TSK. The middle-aged man was not optimistic about Lin Rei. He thought that Lin Rei was an arrogant and conceited person. However, Jian Feng and Xueqi did not think so. They knew Lin Rei's strength, so they silently prayed that the person would listen to Lin Rei's words. Maybe it would be better if he left the arena like this. However, reality was always relative. This matter was obviously not disadvantageous to you, but you were biased. There was no other way. Arrogant. When the young man opposite Lin Rei heard Lin Rei's words, his originally timid heart seemed to have been stimulated. He was stunned for a moment and growled in a low voice. Lin Rei's words seemed to have stimulated his self-esteem. Although he was even more afraid, he still used it to fight. His cultivation was suitable. He instantly released his cultivation as a divine guard. A surge of towering anger broke out from his body. A long sword appeared in his hand and his figure disappeared in a flash. Not bad. Would attribute spiritual root. Although it's not the best, it's still a mid-high grade spiritual root. TSK. This strength is not bad. The moment the young man disappeared, a surge of would attribute spiritual energy appeared. Sensing this, Lin Rei immediately determined the attribute of the young man and his cultivation. As for the figure that disappeared, it had been in Lin Rei's consciousness since the beginning. Although his magic art was very rare, it was nothing in front of an expert. Looking ahead, Lin Rei shook his head with a regretful expression. I told you to retreat, but you didn't listen. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. What? Hearing this, the young man who used his magic art to attack Lin Rei was stunned. However, he did not think too much about it. After all, he did not believe that he would lose. Sigh. Lin Rei sighed when he saw the young man's action. Then, he shook his head and released his cultivation. His body moved and instantly disappeared. What this? In the dark, seeing the target of his attack disappear, the young man panicked. The young man was frantic, and he immediately scanned the area, wanting to find Linley. Are you really looking for me? Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind him. Suddenly, the young man's body froze. His face was filled with a bitter smile. Then he turned around to check. Says, what a pity for the wood attribute. You could have developed very well. Why didn't you listen to me? At this moment, Lin Rei, who disappeared, appeared behind the young man. He was very regretful. However, in the next moment, the regret disappeared and was replaced by endless killing intent. When the young man was halfway through turning around, a hand tightly grabbed his neck. A surge of hidden energy instantly entered the young man's body. Boom! A muffled sound came from the young man's body. Scarlet blood flowed out from the young man's mouth. Sect. Lin Rei sighed. Then, he exerted force in his arm and threw the young man out of the arena. One move. Just one move to end the battle. Haha, this strength. Chapter 862. No one said a word. Everyone stared at the arena in shock. Their eyes were wide open and their mouths were wide open. It was as if they could stuff a few eggs in. It happened so fast that no one knew what happened. It was already over. Gulp. Jean Chen swallowed his saliva in shock. Perhaps it was because everyone was so shocked that they fell silent, but the sound of him swallowing his saliva was very loud. Too strong. Who is this person? Why haven't I seen him before? Why haven't I heard of his name in the divinity world? Jean Chen wondered. If Gold Buhuan knew what his grandson was thinking right now, he'd probably vomit blood from anger. The person he wanted to kill had become his grandson's idol. This was so dramatic. It was really. You can announce it now. After doing all this, he clapped his hands and said coldly to the referee. Ah! The referee was still in shock. When he heard that, his body trembled. He came back to his senses and said with a shocked expression, Yes, 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 he said yes 3 times in a row. Then he continued. Lin Rei is here for the first round. When the referee's words reached everyone's ears, they strangely didn't applaud. They didn't see any admiration in the crowd's eyes. There was only vigilance and shock. Even the referee felt uneasy. Although the arena was only a late-stage divine artifact, it wasn't something that could be broken so easily. Moreover, Lin Rei's move was too casual. Seeing this scene, everyone in the arena came to a conclusion. If they met Linley in the arena, they wouldn't say a single word, and they definitely wouldn't recklessly rush up and attack him. The only decent way out was to forfeit. Otherwise, thinking about it, everyone couldn't help but look at the young man lying on the ground like a dead dog. His breathing was so weak that if they didn't look carefully, they would think that he was dead. Of course, judging from the situation, they didn't think that he could survive. Because, just a moment ago, his breathing had completely disappeared. Just like that, an outstanding genius was killed in an instant. Furthermore, there was not a single trace of sloppiness. It was a clean and crisp death. He did not even have the ability to fight back. Phew. Looking at the silent scene, the head judge took a deep breath. He then exhaled, calming himself down and returning to his usual calmness. Of course, this was only on the surface. Her shocked heart was still open to him. The first round is over. Let's move on to the second round. Number 2, please step up. As he spoke, the referee waved his hand. The barrier that had been broken earlier was restored to its original state with a wave of his hand. Everything was back to normal, as if it had never been broken. Lin Rei's eyes flickered with extraordinary splendor when he saw this scene. Of course, it only lasted for an instant before vanishing without a trace. The third round, round 35. Begin. And so, one duel after another went on. Linley couldn't be bothered to pay any attention to these duels. After the duels were over, he found a place where no one was around and sat down cross-legged, ignoring them. Lin Rei would rather use this short period of time to comprehend the Tao of talismans, Tao of smithing, and Tao of formations.
After all, these three Daos were about to break through to the saint level. Rather than watching these boring battles, it was better to make use of the time to break through. After all, these Daos would be very useful in the holy world. However, after an unknown amount of time, the arena became very intense. Although it was a competition, in order to save time, everyone went up and attacked with all their might. Therefore, the first round of sour beans was over very quickly, and the second round of the competition had begun. Senior, the second round is about to begin.
I wonder if you...
At this moment, a familiar voice and a familiar scene appeared again.
Lin Rei was speechless.
Without opening his eyes, Lin Rei knew that the person who spoke was none other than Jian Feng.
Towards him. Lin Rei was speechless.
And, after answering, he stopped meditating and opened his eyes. Looking at the arena, he did not have the chance to stand up and go up to Jian Feng. In the end, he went up to the arena. The judge was helpless towards Lin Rei's actions, but he did not stop him. After all, it was his turn to fight. However, in the next moment, when Lin Rei opened his mouth, the judge regretted it. Standing in the middle of the arena, Lin Rei was impatient. These battles were too troublesome. Therefore, at this moment, Lin Rei made a decision that shocked everyone. Looking at the people below, Lin Rei spoke. His voice entered everyone's mind. Since you want to fight, let's save some time. Come at me together. My time is limited. It's too troublesome to fight one battle after another. So, come at me together. Then, he raised his hand and hooked his finger at the crowd. This action was nothing in Lin Rei's eyes. However, in the eyes of the crowd, it was an arrogant and insufferably arrogant behavior. Coupled with his words, at this moment, the crowd was furious. Even the judge was furious. Although Lin Rei was powerful, he did not expect him to be so arrogant. He wanted to fight all of them alone. Although many of them had been eliminated, there were still at least 40 to 50 of them. Even a god king would not dare to say that he could handle them all at once. Not to mention, there were 1 or 2 god kings among them. Although they were hiding their cultivation base, it was still possible to see through them. Of course, although the judge was not satisfied with Lin Rei's attitude and behavior, he was still the judge. Therefore, even though he was unwilling, he still tried to persuade Lin Rei. Lin Rei, don't try to be brave. You want to fight all of them alone? Can you bear it? Besides, there are so few people here. I believe it will be over soon. Don't. Lin Rei rolled his eyes at the judge. Then he retorted, May I ask, is there a rule that says I can't fight all of them? Go away. I will follow the rules. But, then with a sword in his hand, the domineering chi of the world rushed out. His insufferably arrogant face was exposed. But, since there is no rule, I have a challenge. All of them. Unless, they don't want to. Or, they don't have the guts. So, as he spoke, he looked at the crowd with a provocative expression. So your choice is? At this moment, hearing Lin Rei's stupefied expression, the judge became even more furious. However, what Lin Rei said was not unreasonable. It was just that the judge felt uncomfortable. Originally, he wanted to protect Lin Rei. However, he did not expect that he would be refuted in such a blatant manner. What the hell? That person's legs were not clamped tightly together. Why did such a person jump out? That's right. Who does he think he is? A divine sect? A divine lord? A god emperor? He actually dares to challenge all of us by himself. He must be tired of living. TSK, he's just someone who thinks too highly of himself. He thinks that he's amazing just because he has a little bit of strength. Does he not know that there is always someone better than him? At this moment, the crowd was very dissatisfied with Lin Rei's behavior. However, among the crowd's complaints, there were 2 people who had smiles on their faces the entire time. In fact, after hearing the crowd's disdain and discussion, the smiles on their faces instantly disappeared. It was replaced with expressions of disdain. They were none other than Jian Feng, who already knew how powerful Lin Rei was. The second person was naturally Xueqi, who already recognized Lin Rei as her master. Lin Rei did not care about the crowd's discussion at all. Instead, he had a smile on his face. He stood alone on the stage with Jian Feng and Xueqi,
waiting for the crowd to make their move. Are you sure?
At this moment, the judge could not help but ask.
After all, this had never happened before. He did not know how to deal with it.
However, looking at Lin Rei's determined expression, he knew that the person before him was serious.
Yes, I'm sure. Knowing that the judge was being kind, Lin Rei's tone became gentler and he nodded. Sigh. The judge sighed. Since the other party did not care, what right did he have to criticize him? With that thought, the judge took a step back and left the stage in a flash.
He went to a secluded place and quietly waited for the result.
Humph. Arrogant thief. Since you are so arrogant and conceited, let me have a taste of your strength. I want to see if you can challenge all of us here. The crowd fell silent. But at this moment, a young man with a coarse appearance and a muscular body appeared.
He gave off the impression of a fierce man. He held a halberd behind his back and exuded an imposing aura.
His figure flashed and in the next moment, he appeared on the stage. Arrogant thief, come and face your death. Boom.
He released his late-stage divine guard cultivation and an enormous amount of spiritual energy. The oppressive aura of a divine guard pressed down on Lin Rei. Lin Rei revealed a trace of admiration when he saw the young man before him.
After all, he dared to come alone. However, this alone wasn't enough to make Linley feel anything towards him. Just now, when the young man came up, Linley felt a sense of familiarity in his heart. Although he couldn't put his finger on it, he just felt a sense of familiarity. Are you sure you want to fight me alone? You don't need the help of others? Lin Rei could not help but tease. No need. I alone am enough to deal with you. Make your move. All right. Since the other party had already said so much, if Linley didn't make a move, wouldn't he be letting the other party down? After making his decision, Lin Rei moved. His figure disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he was behind the young man. But unlike before, Lin Rei was not filled with murderous intent. Go back and practice more. Your spear intent has not reached its peak. I am looking forward to seeing you in the future. I wonder if you will surprise me when I see you again.
When he heard this, the young man's body trembled.
He subconsciously wanted to turn around, but the moment he turned around, his body became light.
He looked down and saw that he had left the ground.
At this moment, Lin Rei's voice was heard again. Think about it carefully. The spear is the master of all weapons. It can move forward without fear. I still can't do it without hesitation and without any distractions.
Whoosh! Before the young man could say anything, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. The young man appeared in the air and fell to the ground in the distance. After doing all this, Lin Rei gestured to the crowd and said, How about it?
Do you want to come together? Sometimes I am really curious. You all call yourselves geniuses, but ask yourselves, are you? As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd was once again thrown into a perilous situation, stirring up the anger of the crowd. Bastard!
He cursed, but he did not dare to go up because the person just now was stronger than him.
So coward! Looking at the crowd's reaction, Lin Rei shook his head in disappointment. I didn't expect the geniuses of the divine world to persuade me like this.
You are worse than a beggar on the street.
Sigh. Every word was like a knife. Lin Rei's words completely aroused the crowd's self-esteem. They did not expect the person in front of them to insult them again and again. Bastard. Bastard. Unforgivable. Everyone, let's go up together and teach this bastard a lesson. We must make him regret. Yes, let's go. When one person opened his mouth, the crowd exploded. When one person acted, it was out of control. When it started with one person, 10 people followed. Later, everyone rushed up to the stage. Oh, that's right. Looking at the crowd's angry appearance, Lin Rei's face was full of smiles. Since that's the case, let's get this over with quickly. After saying this, an evil smile appeared on his face. His figure instantly disappeared and charged into the crowd. Lin Rei, who had turned into a ray of light, shuttled back and forth in the crowd. Everywhere he passed, there would be wails, painful cries and screams. Lin Rei did not notice that while he was shuttling back and forth in the crowd, a beautiful figure appeared on a mountain peak not far away.
There was an amused smile on her face as she looked at Lin Rei, who was shuttling back and forth in the crowd. There was a trace of complaint in her eyes. "Humph bastard, since you have dumped me, just you wait. When you enter the Talisman Sect, I will teach you a lesson." There was a trace of hidden bitterness in her voice. If Lin Rei was here, he would definitely be very shocked after seeing the beautiful figure's face. This was because this person was none other than Xueqi, who had been mercilessly dumped by Lin Rei previously. However, Xueqi was currently dressed as a woman. However, her appearance was indescribably beautiful. At this moment, her appearance was completely different from when she was dressed as a man. In fact, it was even slightly better. F***CK, we have been tricked. This person is a demon, he. At this moment, more than half of the 40 over people in the arena had been flirted with by Lin Rei in less than 15 minutes. Of course, if the crowd knew that Lin Rei had not even used 10% of his strength, what would they do? Chapter 863. At this moment, Linley's magnificent performance had completely stunned the audience, as well as the referee. They had never imagined that Linley would be so powerful. With such strength, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he could take the head of an enemy general in an army of 10,000. Moreover, everyone realized that their attacks were like scratching an itch when they landed on Lin Rei's body. He didn't feel anything at all and continued his magnificent performance. At this moment, everyone felt that their previous actions and words were extremely comical and unbearable to look at. Sigh. A sigh was heard. At this moment, other than 2 people who were still standing, the rest of the people in the arena had lost their ability to fight. They were all lying on the ground. They were either holding their legs, covering their faces, or unconscious. Of course, some of the cultivators with slightly higher cultivation were rolling on the ground and crying out in pain. As experts, this kind of behavior was very embarrassing. However, it was really painful. They couldn't bear it. Moreover, although Lin Rei had held back, the power was not something they could endure. "Are you going to give up or do you want me to help you?" At this moment, Lin Rei ignored the cries of pain around him and looked at the young man in front of him. Lin Rei didn't attack him. Instead, he asked him. This was already Lin Rei being merciful. "Do it. The way of the sword is about advancing courageously and never giving up. I don't want my way of the sword to be destroyed." Moreover, as he spoke, the young man raised his head and looked at Lin Rei with eyes full of admiration. He said, "You said it. So, I will not back down." Every single word caused Linley to be moved. However, aside from being moved, there was also a hint of mockery in his voice. After all, there weren't many people in the deity realm who were capable of such a thing. In addition to pressing forward courageously, one also had to be strong enough. Lin Rei didn't think that with his strength, he could defeat him even if he advanced courageously. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being merciless. Since the other party had said so, Lin Rei didn't need to be polite. Standing in front of Linley was the only other person on the dueling platform, aside from Linley. It was none other than Jian Feng, who had fought earlier and had been deeply impressed by Linley's Tao of the sword. He stood on the arena, not because he was strong, but because he had tacitly allowed it. After all, Lin Rei had warned him before. Although it was insignificant, Lin Rei had given him a chance. Come on. The second move of the myriad sword technique, 100 swords devouring God. When he used the second style of the innumerable swords technique, the sword edge was filled with sword chi. Outside of the sword chi, there were even more illusory images of the long swords in his hand. Each and every one of them emitted a cold light as they densely appeared in front of the sword edge. Ah! The second style of the innumerable swords technique. TSK, not bad at all. Although you have comprehended its form, but you haven't comprehended its meaning at all. Looking at the hundreds of long swords in front of him, Lin Rei's face revealed a trace of ridicule. I really don't know how your master taught you. Sigh. You're a genius in the sword Tao. What a pity. What a pity for the innumerable swords technique. He shook his head and didn't say anything more. Hearing these words, Jian Feng was stunned. Although he understood what Lin Rei was talking about, but he was unwilling in his heart, because he was talking about the existence that he cherished and respected the most. Let's not talk nonsense. Come on. As he spoke, he waved his long sword, and over 100 sword shadows shot out, moving as fast as lightning and as fast as thunder, instantly disappearing and charging towards Linley.
Sigh. Only the action, not the meaning. In the end, it's all in vain. Looking at the densely packed sword images rushing towards him, Lin Rei didn't dodge. He didn't even use his cultivation. He took a step forward and slowly walked towards the sword images. His speed wasn't very fast. His eyes were wide open and the corners of his mouth curved into a devilish smile. He gave off a feeling of coldness. Haha, good, very good. Hurry up and kill him. You must kill him. Let him give me a taste of his own medicine outside. That's right, kill him. Kill him. It hurts so much. Even if I die, it will be worth it if I kill him. Yeah, that bastard. Kill him. Hurry up and kill him. I don't want to see this demon again. At this moment in the arena, the people who hadn't fainted saw Lin Rei's current actions and the awe-inspiring sword images again. Everyone was overjoyed. They didn't care about their own injuries and shouted at the top of their lungs. It seemed that they could already see the scene of Lin Rei being pierced by the hundreds of sword images. It wasn't just them. The referee, Jin Buhuan, and those who were waiting for Lin Rei to die couldn't help but want him to die quickly. Of course, with the desire to kill, there was also worry. At this moment, not far away, looking at the hundreds of sword images that were about to pierce Lin Rei's body, Su Ziqing clenched her hands tightly. Her face was full of worry. Stinking brat, little bastard, don't be angry. Otherwise, I will go to the ends of the earth to find you. However, Lin Rei didn't know any of this. At this moment, Lin Rei was still walking towards the sword images. As he got closer, the sword images arrived in front of him in an instant. Lin Rei wasn't blind. He was still as calm as ever, as if there was nothing in front of him. Be careful, Jian Feng, who was using the 10,000 Swords manual, could not help but warn the others when he saw this. However, the moment he said that, a scene that he would never forget for the rest of his life appeared before his eyes. At this moment, seeing the sword images in front of him, he ignored them and directly crashed into them. Kacha! Kacha kacha! Suddenly, the sound of shattering could be heard. The hundreds of sword images began to shatter the moment they came into contact with Lin Rei's body. It was as if Lin Rei's body was made of stellar iron. It couldn't be pierced by anything. Even Jian Feng, who was using the myriad sword art, was shocked. One had to know that the myriad sword art was extremely powerful. Not to mention humans, even quicksand and iron would be cut in half in an instant. However, the scene in front of him was a new experience for Jian Feng. He was shocked. This shock came from the depths of his soul. Quicksand and iron were the toughest materials in the divine realm. Normally, a little bit of it would be added to a supreme-grade divine artifact when refining it. However, at this moment, in just a few seconds, Jian Feng had been using it for less than half a minute. At this moment, Lin Rei had once again refreshed Jian Feng's understanding, refreshed the understanding of the Talisman Sect's upper echelons, and refreshed the understanding of everyone present. F***CK. What the hell? An extremely uncoordinated voice could be heard. The voice was trembling, the face was filled with shock, and the mouth was wide open. Hearing this voice, Lin Rei turned his head to look. It was none other than the person who said that he would rather die than kill him. Looking at him, a chill rose in his heart. It's all right. You can live a little longer. Soon you will leave this world. Cherish your last moments in this world. At this moment the young man cried. He regretted it. He did not expect that even such a powerful attack would not be able to kill Lin Rei. Moreover, it was not even the slightest bit. Even his clothes were not torn. At this moment, the young man really wanted to curse. He hated his own mouth even more. He hated himself for being so cheap. The young man turned his head to look at Jian Feng. At this moment, Jian Feng was in a daze. It was as if he had lost his soul. His eyes were dull and lifeless. Looking at him, Lin Rei sneered. Not all sword cultivators can step into the true sword Dao. Moreover, after saying that, Lin Rei's face was filled with disdain. Moreover, I think you should change your master quickly. Your master did not even tell you if you have entered the intent realm. I guess such a master is also
Stop talking. Jian Feng roared, don't say any more. Although what you said may be right, but there is only one master. I will not betray him. Even more so, I will not betray my master just because of a few words from you. I cannot do it. He didn't say anything. Seeing how excited Jian Feng was, Lin Li's face was filled with surprise. In that moment, his impression of Jian Feng improved significantly. Heh. Do whatever you want. Without any further persuasion, Lin Fan appeared beside Jian Feng in a flash. With a chop of his hand, he chopped Jian Feng's neck. In an instant, Lin Fan activated his hidden force. Jian Feng felt his entire body go limp. His vision turned black and he lost consciousness. Heh, although I am very satisfied with you. But what you said just now moved me. Furthermore, swordbone to say, it's not bad. At this moment, the unconscious Jian Feng did not know that Lin Rei had praised him. Although your swordsmanship is very bad, and your swordsmanship has been turned into a complete mess by that master of yours, but since the two of us have met, it means that fate has brought us together. Since that is the case, this exalted body will not be stingy. Although I can't give you any pointers, I can still give you the essentials and experience of the myriad sword technique. As he spoke, his hand blade instantly turned into a sword finger, and he pointed it at Jian Feng's forehead. Suddenly, all the experience of the myriad sword art, as well as the entire myriad sword art, was transmitted into Jian Feng's mind. Phew, after a long sigh, a smile appeared on Lin Fan's face. The rest is up to you. I hope that you won't ruin your good condition. With that, Lin Fan stood up. Without looking at Jian Feng who was lying on the ground, he walked down the stage. At this moment, the worried young man saw Lin Rei walking down the stage. He instinctively thought that Lin Rei had forgotten about him, and he felt relieved. Puff, however, just as the young man thought that, a warm current flowed out from his chest. Subconsciously, the young man looked down and saw a finger-sized hole in his chest. Scarlet blood flowed out, and his aura and vitality were slowly fading away. Why? I don't want to die. At the edge of the stage, Lin Fan sensed the young man's condition and sneered. How long do you think someone who threatens or wants to kill this exalted body can live? Walking down the stage, Lin Rei was speechless when he saw the shocked expression of the judge. Announce the result and let's enter the last round. Hearing Lin Rei's voice, the judge subconsciously took a step back. However, when he came back to his senses, he looked embarrassed and returned to his original position. He opened his mouth and said, Lin Rei, first place. As for, there's no need to say anything. They don't have the ability to continue. So, let's enter the next round. Lin Fan said without holding back. Hearing this, the judge felt angry. However, there was nothing he could do. Lin Rei was right. No one on the stage could stand up. Looking at their injuries, it would take at least half a year. With a sigh he reluctantly announced, since it's like this, Lin Rei, prepare to enter the golden light. Inside. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew past his face, and his vision turned black. In the next moment, Lin Rei, who was standing in front of him, disappeared without a trace. F***ck, no matter what, I'm still the judge. Don't you know how to show some respect? The judge turned around and looked at Lin Rei, who had rushed into the golden light, and muttered. At this moment, Jin Buhuan was standing in the golden light. He looked down from the stage and looked at Lin Rei with a ferocious expression. His killing intent soared to the sky. Bastard! How dare you touch my grandson? You're dead meat. So what if you're strong? Even if I die, I'll make you pay the price. Lin Rei didn't know that Jin Buhuan had sworn to die. He also didn't know that Jin Buhuan's grandson was among the people who had been beaten up. In the golden light, Lin Rei slightly activated his cultivation to save time. The moment his cultivation of the early Divine Emperor appeared, his speed increased by more than 10 times. When Lin Rei's cultivation was exposed, Fu Zong and Su Ziqing, who were hiding in the dark, were shocked. However, Lin Rei didn't care about it. Compared to the mission and the banished fairy brush, their shock was nothing. After a while, Lin Rei appeared in the middle of the golden light, under the banished fairy brush. At this moment, Lin Rei, who had arrived, felt the pressure around him increase dramatically. If he hadn't reached the level of ultimate god, even if he was an emperor god, he wouldn't have been able to stay here for long. Interesting. Sensing the pressure around him, a hint of interest arose in Linley's heart. Pfft. Interesting. Since you're here, why don't you hurry up and subdue him? What are you waiting for? Suddenly, the little dragon's voice was heard. Suddenly, Lin Rei was stunned and rolled his eyes. I know, you're so long-winded. Lin Rei wasn't angry with the little dragon. He muttered and his mind power rushed out, aiming at the banished fairy brush above his head. Lin Rei's enormous mind power was like a sharp sword, entering the banished fairy brush without any hindrance. Be careful. There's an artifact spirit here. Although I don't know its cultivation level, looking at the level of the banished fairy brush, the artifact spirit here shouldn't be simple. Moreover, we're in their territory, we have to be careful. At this moment, the little dragon's vigilant voice was heard from the banished fairy brush. Bad guy, who are you? Why are you in my house? Just as the little dragon finished speaking, a crisp and tender voice suddenly sounded, giving Lin Rei a shock. I'm Xiao Xian, who are you? Without waiting for Linley to speak, Xiao Xian laughed. As she spoke, her watery eyes caused Linley's heart to feel a bit flustered. Humph. Useless. Isn't he just a little guy? Look at you. Chapter 864. Listening to the little dragon's disdain, Lin Rei rolled his eyes and let the little dragon experience it for himself. Xiao Xian. The reason why Lin Rei was flustered was because Xiao Xian's appearance was too short and cute. If he didn't know that weapon spirits took a long time to form, Lin Rei would have been deceived by Xiao Xian before him. At that moment, Xiao Xian looked like a child of 4 or 5 years old, and, by the looks of it, she looked like a little girl. Faced with such a vessel spirit, Meng Chao's desire to subdue her began to waver. All right. Hurry up. How could the little dragon not understand Lin Rei's heart? But how could he let go of the chance to diss Lin Rei? Got it. You're so long-winded. As he spoke, he looked at Xiao Xian with an embarrassed look on his face. Linley chuckled then said, Xiao Xian, aren't you bored here? Do you want your big brother to take you out for a stroll? Let's see the great rivers and mountains outside. Hearing Lin Rei's words, the little dragon in the system immediately knelt on the ground with a face full of admiration. He didn't expect Lin Rei to say such hurried, silly words. Perhaps even a 3-year-old wouldn't believe it. However, just as this thought popped up in his mind, the little dragon was stunned after hearing Xiao Xian's reply. His eyes glazed over and he stood rooted to the ground, unable to come back to his senses for a long time. Sure, I've heard that the outside world is great, but I haven't had the time. Can you bring me out to play? Xiao Xian, who was full of doubts, asked. Even Lin Rei didn't expect Xiao Xian to be so straightforward. But since there was a breakthrough, how could he give up Lin Rei? He immediately came back to his senses. Yes, of course. Not only will I bring you out to play, but I will also buy you a lot of good stuff. As long as you want it, I will buy it for you. But if that thing is beyond what I can handle, then... As soon as he finished speaking, Linley felt that he had spoken too confidently, and hurriedly left himself a way out. Really? Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xiao Xian was still doubtful and her expression slowly turned vigilant. In this regard, Lin Rei naturally explained with a prayer. Of course, who am I? I'm Lin Rei, all right. Believe me, as long as you follow me, I guarantee that you will experience all the fun and delicious things in this world. You will definitely be very satisfied. Okay, I believe you. Looking at Lin Rei's sincere attitude and expression, Xiao Xian finally decided to follow Lin Rei. So simple, so simple. This was completely different from what Lin Rei had imagined. Previously, he thought that there would be a huge battle after entering this place. Even if there wasn't, it would at least be troublesome. But now, however, this was also good. Lin Rei was very happy about this. After all, he had obtained a natural spiritual treasure. This thing wasn't something that could be obtained just because one wanted it. Just like the door that he had obtained previously, it required an extremely strong opportunity and luck. If not, Humph. Humph. Come on. Drip a drop of blood on me and I will begin to recognize you as my master. Hurry up, I still want to go out to play. Just as Lin Rei was secretly pleased with himself, Xiao Xian's hurried voice sounded. Regarding this, Lin Rei was stunned. He didn't argue anymore. He took out the Chaos Dragon Spear, grabbed the spearhead, and pricked his finger. Poof! The sound of a thin line breaking could be heard. In the next moment, scarlet, gem-like blood appeared on Lin Rei's finger. Come on, let me see how strong you are. Looking at the blood in his hand and the banishing immortal brush that had flown to him on its own accord, Lin Rei smiled. Then, he dripped the prepared blood on his finger onto the brush. Boom! With a boom, the instant the blood collided with the banishing immortal brush, a strange formation appeared. With the banishing immortal brush at the center, it spread out in all directions. 10 meters. At first, it was only 10 meters. But as time passed, the magic formation grew bigger and bigger. 20 meters. At first, it didn't seem like much. But now, it had grown to more than 20 meters. Coupled with the pressure that surged out from the magic formation, it was obvious that this magic formation wasn't simple. Moreover, what was even more remarkable was that the magic formation didn't seem to have the slightest intention of slowing down. Heh! This magic formation is powerful. It should be at the high grade of the sage level. To think that this magic formation was created by a little girl. Thinking about this, Lin Rei couldn't help but blush. He didn't know what to say. However, when he thought about how long the lifespan of a weapon spirit was, and how it had been formed for a very long time, Lin Rei felt relieved. Time passed bit by bit. More than 10 minutes had passed. By now, the magic formation had reached a height of 100 meters. Finally, it stopped. Xiao Xian rushed out from the banishing immortal brush. Her face was full of surprise as she pressed down on Lin Rei. She smiled and said, "Little brother, I didn't think that there would be so much energy in your blood. It actually made my body so much stronger." Sure enough, it was just as Xiao Xian said. When she rushed out, Lin Rei felt that there was something different about her. Regarding this, Lin Rei didn't care too much. After all, he was very clear about the energy in his blood. That was the bloodline of the Hongmeng supremacy. If it wasn't strong, the system wouldn't have chosen him as its host. Looking at Xiao Xian, Lin Rei chuckled. He didn't want to disturb her. As long as you're happy, as long as you're happy. With that, Lin Rei stood aside and waited. He didn't know why, but when he had the time, he would ask a question that made him want to slap himself. Well, Xiao Xian, since you're an innate spiritual weapon, it means that you've lived through the Eldritch era. And as far as I know, all the spiritual weapons in the Eldritch era should have been obtained by the Almighty. Before he could finish his sentence, Lin Rei stopped abruptly. He stared blankly at Xiao Xian, not knowing what to do. At this moment, Xiao Xian, who was originally full of smiles, looked downcast the moment she heard Lin Rei's question. Her face was filled with disappointment, helplessness, and fear and helplessness. At this moment, Lin Rei didn't say anything. He even couldn't help but curse himself for being an idiot. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, 4 hours had passed. During these 4 hours, Lin Rei didn't speak. The entire place was extremely quiet. No one spoke. Even Lin Rei tried his best to suppress his breathing. Sigh. Suddenly, a sigh broke the silent and awkward atmosphere. At this moment, Xiao Xian sighed. Her initial disappointment disappeared and was replaced by memories. At this moment, Xiao Xiao was completely immersed in her memories. She sank into the deepest recesses of her memories. The Eldritch Age was a place that everyone yearned for. It was the peak of the entire cultivation era. There were all kinds of almighty beings there. There were only stronger ones, not the strongest ones. My previous master was a leader in the Eldritch Age. Hearing Xiao Xian's explanation, Lin Rei couldn't help but think of Jian Feng's words. He asked subconsciously, could it be Kuan Pang? That's right. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Xiao Xian was stunned. She smiled and continued, it was Kuan Pang. The demon master Kuan Pang of the Eldritch Age. The sage master Kuan Pang of the human race. At this moment, Xiao Xian's face was filled with pride. It was as if she was talking about herself.
My previous master was from the northern underworld. His cultivation was extremely high. Even the sages back then feared him. Following my master was the happiest and most unforgettable experience of my life. But, at this moment, her smile disappeared and was replaced by fear. But for some reason, when my master was on the path of righteousness, he seemed to have discovered a secret. More than 10 sages of the holy world and even the 12 ancestors of sorcerers took action. They summoned Panga's corpse to fight. That must be an earth-shattering battle. Hearing Xiao Xian's reply, Lin Rei felt as if he was in that battle. His blood boiled. That's right. That battle could be said to be earth-shattering. The entire Eldritch Age collapsed. As she spoke, Xiao Xian's weak body began to tremble. Her face was filled with fear. It was as if she had recalled something terrible. What happened after that? Lin Rei was very clear about Xiao Xian's situation. However, Lin Rei did not stop her. Instead, he continued to ask. It was not that Lin Rei was cold and heartless. It was because he wanted to help Xiao Xian. Looking at Xiao Xian's current state, Lin Rei could guess that Xiao Xian had not recovered from the past. Regarding this, whether Xiao Xian was his weapon or not, Lin Rei would still do so. However, Xiao Xian did not object to Lin Li's question. In that great battle, Master gave it his all. But in the end, he realized that one person's strength was still too weak. 2 fists could not fight against 4 hands. In the end, nearly 30 sages took action and killed my master. At this moment, the weapon spirit shed tears. At this moment, Lin Li was shocked. The artifact spirit was actually crying. It must be known that artifact spirits were nothing more than spiritual consciousnesses. They couldn't possibly have the ability to cry. But at this moment, the artifact spirit was crying. This made Lin Li feel that the banished immortal brush was even more important and powerful. Alas! A formidable hero of a generation. Although he had never seen the Kuan Peng, he could feel that the Kuan Peng was a strong person. A true strong person. What a pity, yes. Looking at Lin Rei, Xiao Xian sighed. But it's still okay. Even though they were killed by my master, he was very strong. He was also the type to suffer losses. Oh! At this moment, Lin Rei perked up again. He listened attentively, as if he was the one who fought in the bloodbath. Back then there were so many sages. In order to besiege Master, they finally paid the price. 8 of the 12 ancestral sorcerers died, and more than half of the other sages died. In the end, there were only a few left. If Master didn't want us to be covered in dust, perhaps those bastards who called themselves sages would have all been wiped out in that battle. Hearing this, Lin Rei was stunned. His heart was filled with doubts and doubts. From the conversation just now, Lin Rei could feel Xiao Xian's deep longing for the Kuan Peng. At the same time, he could also feel the deep hatred from Xiao Xian. But why? Why would such an existence recognize him as her master so easily? At this moment, Lin Rei began to have doubts. Moreover, his heart was filled with doubts. Little dragon, what do you think is the probability of Xiao Xian recognizing me as her master? Why do I have a vague feeling of uneasiness in my heart at this moment? TSK. This matter is really troublesome. If she did not talk about the Kuan Peng, perhaps I would think that she would hold it in. But now, facing Lin Rei's doubts, the little dragon also felt the same. How is it? Tell me quickly. Heh. Looking at Lin Rei's anxious expression, the little dragon smiled and said, if it was you, and your family or the people closest to you were killed, and your enemies were not killed, what would you do? Facing the little dragon's question, Lin Rei did not hesitate and directly answered. Of course I would kill. As soon as the word kill came out of his mouth, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, the doubts in his heart were answered at this moment. Understood. He nodded to the little dragon and did not say anything else. His gaze was fixed on Xiao Xian. No one knew what he wanted to do. Xiao Xian noticed Lin Rei's gaze. At first, she intentionally avoided it. But later, Xiao Xian began to look directly at Lin Rei. At this moment, Lin Rei was even clearer about his previous thoughts. I'm sorry. Just as Lin Li was about to speak, Xiao Xian beat him to it. This time I lied to you. If you can reach the deity realm, and I am not dead by then,
I will serve you as my master and serve you for all eternity. Heh, Lin Rei sneered. He did not care about Xiao Xian's words at all. Perhaps it was because he was holding it in.
I'm sorry. I lied to you this time. Next time, I will return it to you.
Saying that, Xiao Xian flashed to the side of the banishing immortal brush and reached out to grab it. She gave Lin Rei an apologetic smile and then turned around to leave.
Do you think you can leave?
At this moment, Lin Rei's tone changed. It became cold and emotionless. Since the other party had already acted this way, Lin Rei did not need to treat him anymore.
Did you forget that the previous one was really big?
Also, I said that your bloodline is very powerful, so…
Formation? Bloodline?
At this moment, Lin Rei was confused. However, in the next moment, Lin Rei seemed to have thought of something. His eyes widened and he cried out in surprise. Could it be? That's right. Without turning around, she walked to the center of the formation. With her back facing Lin Rei, Xiao Xian's voice came slowly. This formation looks like a formation that can hold it in, but it is not. Then what is it? Lin Rei asked subconsciously. A teleportation formation, or you can call it a location teleportation formation. It is a saint-level formation. I think after hearing the name, you should be able to guess the purpose of this formation, right? Indeed. Lin Rei understood the purpose of this formation. Even if one was not a cultivator after hearing the name, they should be able to guess the wonderful use of this formation. At this moment, Lin Rei's face darkened. He did not expect that after playing with eagles for so long, he would be caught in the eye by a sparrow. Let's not talk anymore. The energy in that drop of blood of yours is limited. So, goodbye. Just as Lin Rei was about to speak, Xiao Xian spoke to stop him. However, in the next moment, just as Xiao Xian finished speaking, the formation exploded with blue light. In the next moment, the banishing immortal brush and Xiao Xian's figure disappeared from the huge formation. Chapter 865. After a long time, the blue light disappeared. A few hours after the 100-meter formation disappeared, Lin Rei did not say anything. He just stared blankly at the spot where Xiao Xian disappeared. At this moment, no one knew what Lin Rei was feeling. Of course, the little dragon was the only exception. The others were just looking at Lin Rei from afar, not knowing what was going on. In the distance, a group of people saw Lin Rei standing on the spot and staring blankly at the sky. For a moment, some people thought that Lin Rei had lost his mind. Some thought that Lin Rei was frozen by a powerful spell. In any case, there were all kinds of theories. An hour after Xiao Xian disappeared, the higher-ups of the Talisman Sect seemed to have sensed something and removed the seal. As for Lin Rei, they only reminded Xuanfeng to be more careful and did not pay too much attention to him. After that, they left to do their own things. When the golden light disappeared, the original scene appeared in front of everyone's eyes. For a moment, everyone sighed. After all, that powerful treasure was now. Just like that, he stood there in a daze and did not say anything. It was as if he had encountered some kind of stimulation. He was not feeling well and his face became gloomy. That's enough. A voice filled with impatience, but amidst the impatience, a voice filled with concern entered Linley's ears. As though he had heard her, Linley's unblinking eyes moved, and his gloomy face regained some of its color. Sigh. Tell me, is there a need to do this? Isn't it just an innate spiritual treasure? It's not like you don't have it. Moreover, it's not like you can't see that thing anymore. When the time comes, I'll help you vent your anger. I'll erase her consciousness and create a new weapon spirit for you. When the time comes. There's no need. A deep voice came from Lin Rei's mouth. I didn't expect that after cultivating until now, I would be deceived by a thing without flesh and blood. Looks like I have to be more careful in the future. That's more like it. Upon seeing Lin Rei speak, the little dragon in the system heaved a long sigh of relief. Its originally kind heart was finally at ease. She dared to deceive me. I have to say that she has successfully angered me. Xiao Xian. That's even better. Just you wait. When I step into the holy world, I will definitely search the entire holy world and capture you. At that time, I will grind your bones into dust and toss you into the underworld river. If I don't make you suffer the pain of having your soul devoured, I won't be called Lin Rei. Even more ruthlessly, looking at Lin Rei's current appearance, the little dragon knew that Lin Rei and Xiao Xian were going to fight it out. At the same time, he felt sad for Xiao Xian. Of all the people she could deceive, she chose to die trying to deceive Lin Rei. As the saying goes, if you don't seek death, you won't die. When it came to Lin Rei, the little dragon knew that deceiving Lin Rei was equivalent to having a knife placed on one's neck. All right, I will help you find him when the time comes. Don't worry. The little dragon was very confident when it said this, as though it could definitely do it. When the banished immortal brush left, I left a trace of my soul fragment on it. As long as you reach the holy world, you won't be afraid that you won't be able to find it. As it spoke, the little dragon's face revealed a trace of evil charm. Besides, isn't it just a small vessel spirit? When the time comes, I will help you find as many as you want. I guarantee that you will vomit the moment you see one. Upon hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was speechless. However, he revealed a smile on his face. He knew that the little dragon was concerned about him. All right. After calming down, he revealed a rare smile on his face. Let's not talk about the banished immortal brush for now. Now that I have confirmed that I have entered the Talisman Grandmaster Sect, I believe that the higher-ups of the Talisman Grandmaster Sect have all noticed me. The road ahead will be difficult. I believe you. These words caused Linley to roll his eyes helplessly. You believe it? What's the point of believing it? We can't use force, and we can't use the soul-controlling pill. What's the point of believing it? As he spoke, Linley began to walk forward. This is not my fault? Upon sensing Lin Rei's resentment, the little dragon was so anxious that it hurriedly tried to distance itself from him. This is all the system's fault. Yes, it's the system. Everything is the system's fault. He was the one who issued the mission, not me. Moreover, I have always believed that you can do it, just like how you chose the system back then and came here from a lower plane. I have always believed in your ability. Lin Rei did not like the way the little dragon spoke all of a sudden. In the past, the little dragon had always been sarcastic. Now that it suddenly spoke in such a way, Lin Rei was not used to it. Excuse me, are you Lin Rei, the newcomer king of this batch of new disciples? The sudden question interrupted Lin Rei. He came back to his senses and lifted his head, only to see a male disciple dressed in the Talisman Grandmaster's uniform. He stood there nervously and scanned the surroundings with uncertainty, not daring to look directly into Lin Rei's eyes. Looking at him, Lin Rei was stunned and speechless. What the hell is this? Of course, he could not say that out loud. With a straight face, he straightened his clothes and replied, Yes, I am Lin Rei. May I know who you are? Oh yes, I forgot to introduce myself. Upon hearing Lin Rei's reminder, the man exclaimed and quickly introduced himself. In response, Lin Rei's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. I am Tai Crazy. I am a core disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster. I am the disciple who is here to welcome you to your residence. Tai Crazy? Upon hearing the man's name, Lin Rei broke out in cold sweat. Lin Rei did not comment on the man's name. Yes, that's me. Good. Tai Crazy replied. Lin Rei's first impression of him was that he was weak and easily bullied, cowardly and incompetent, and not very confident. However, Lin Rei was more concerned about the mental strength emanating from Tai Crazy's body. Although it was only for a moment, Lin Rei could clearly feel that this mental strength was at least at the third stage of the divine level. Such a level was only 6 stages and 2 stages lower than his own. At this moment, Lin Rei could not help but re-evaluate Tai Crazy. To possess such powerful mental strength at such a young age, if used properly, he would be a powerful alchemist, talisman master, and formation master. However, there was something that Lin Rei was very puzzled about. With such mental strength, even in the Xuanzong sect, he would at least be an elder or guardian. But now, he was only a core disciple here. Lin Rei did not think that the Talisman Grandmaster was that powerful. Back in the ancient corpse trove, The ancestors of the Talisman Grandmaster had died in Lin Rei's hands. Therefore, the idea that the Talisman Grandmaster was in a place with powerful experts was not valid at all. Therefore, it was very clear that the people of the Talisman Grandmaster did not know about Tai Tai Crazy's mental strength. Perhaps there was a terrifying thought, and that was that Tai Tai Crazy himself might not know either. If that was the case, then, as he thought about it, a drop of something sparkling and translucent flowed out from the corner of his mouth.
Lin Rei was completely unaware of this.
He only knew that he was staring blankly ahead with a silly smile on his face. When Tai Tai Crazy saw the drop of something sparkling and translucent at the corner of Lin Rei's mouth, he began to suspect, is this the newcomer king this time? However, when he looked at the surrounding sky, he could not help but reach out and gently pat Lin Rei.
That, junior brother Lin Rei, look, it's getting late. Should we hurry up? We still have to see where you're staying later. Look.
There was no response. At this moment in the system, when the little dragon saw that Lin Rei was still in a daze, it could not help but roar angrily, Lin Rei, that's enough.
You're embarrassing yourself, do you know that?
Oh. The little dragon's voice was still the most effective. It immediately snapped Lin Rei out of his daze. Junior brother, let's go. Seeing that Lin Rei had returned to his senses, Crazy God hurriedly urged.
Okay, let's go.
Looking at Crazy God, Lin Rei's heart burned. At this moment, in Lin Rei's eyes, Crazy God was no longer a person, but a prey that had been targeted by Lin Rei, a prey that could not escape. That, junior brother, is there something on my face? Sensing Lin Rei's fiery gaze, Shintai's body trembled and he couldn't help but take a step back. F***ck this guy. Shintai's actions were enough to explain what he was thinking. However, considering his spiritual power, Lin Rei didn't pay too much attention to it. What's wrong? Seeing that Crazy God still had something to say, Lin Rei asked. Junior brother, why don't you wipe that thing off the corner of your mouth first, or else? As he spoke, Crazy God stopped abruptly. He didn't say anything else and walked forward alone. Corner of my mouth? When he heard Crazy God's words, Lin Rei instinctively raised his hand to touch the corner of his mouth. If he hadn't touched it, he wouldn't have known that he was touching it. When his hand touched the thing at the corner of his mouth, Lin Rei's old face suddenly turned red. F***ck. Isn't it just a genius with slightly better spiritual power?
Is there a need to do this?
With that, Lin Rei hurriedly wiped away the sparkling thing at the corner of his mouth and hurriedly chased after Crazy God. However, the blush on his face didn't fade. Instead, it turned even redder. This was the most awkward thing he had ever done. At this moment, Crazy God, who was walking in front, seemed to have sensed Lin Rei's feelings after he was born. He pursed his lips and said, Junior brother, we'll be reaching your residence soon.
Do you have any questions now?
If you do, I can tell you now. Otherwise, I'm afraid there won't be many opportunities in the future.
Why?
Instinctively, Lin Rei asked. Currently, all the disciples in the Talisman Sect, except for the new disciples and those who were captured by the Sect Master to be able-bodied men, are all in seclusion. Seclusion? Lin Rei was stunned and puzzled. He didn't understand why the Talisman Sect would go into seclusion. Moreover, based on his understanding, seclusion was usually done when a great enemy was approaching or when some mystic realm was opened. The sect would order the disciples to go into seclusion to accumulate power and wait for the attack. To the side, Crazy God seemed to understand Lin Li's thoughts and immediately explained, Junior apprentice brother, you're right. Some time ago, a few major sects in the region were challenged one after another. Moreover, I heard that the opponents were very powerful. Each time, there were only 2 or 3 people. Out of the 3 people, 2 of them were godly venerables while the remaining person was the challenger. He had the cultivation of an emperor god at such a young age. Therefore, the Talisman Sect was afraid that such an incident would happen to them. Therefore, they ordered their disciples to go into seclusion and cultivate until that group of people arrived. Is that right? Lin Rei asked before Crazy God could finish speaking.
Yes, that's right.
Godzilla couldn't doubt Lin Li's words, because he was right. That was how it was. At that moment, Lin Rei was expressionless, but he was laughing crazily in his heart. When he heard Crazy God's words, Lin Rei knew that the people who challenged the major sects were the disciples that he had sent out. Those godly venerables were the generals that he had sent to protect them. However, Lin Rei didn't expect the Talisman sect to be so timid. They had already ordered their people to prepare before they even arrived. If the sect master of the Talisman sect knew that those people weren't coming back but their boss had come instead, what kind of expression would he have? Of course, what made Lin Rei the happiest was the news of a few disciples. Moreover, it sounded like they were doing well. It seemed that those major sects were unlucky. At that moment, Lin Rei couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Although he wasn't worried, Lin Rei was completely relieved when he heard that his disciples were fine. Let's go. Let's not talk about this anymore. Crazy God thought that Lin Rei was afraid when he saw that Lin Rei was in a daze. Therefore, he didn't say anything and walked forward. Under Crazy God's lead, the two of them quickly arrived at the area where the core disciples lived. The Talisman sect had a total of 360 core disciples. Of course, this was under the condition that Lin Rei didn't join them. In the sect, core disciples were the mainstay of the sect. Although they were not as good as the pro-disciples, it was still very good. Compared to the elite disciples, inner disciples and some outer disciples, it was many times better. At that moment, Crazy God and Lin Rei stopped in front of a courtyard. Junior brother, this will be your residence in the sect from now on. Lin Rei was stunned when he heard that. He raised his head and saw a door without a name on a plaque appear before his eyes. Lin Rei didn't have many thoughts when he saw this place. He had lived in a cave before, so it wasn't too bad now. Lin Rei looked at Crazy God and asked, Senior brother, what's the name of this courtyard? Why is this plaque blank? Crazy God was stunned when he heard that. He smiled and replied, This courtyard is given to you. Naturally, you can name it yourself. The plaque is blank so that its owner can name it. I see. Lin Rei muttered to himself and looked up. Although he wouldn't be staying here for long, he didn't want to be careless. What should it be called? Sway foam? Huh. I don't dare. I mean, that doesn't sound good. Alright, anything. After deciding on the name of the courtyard, he raised his hand and circulated his spirit energy to write the word anything on the plaque. Anything? Crazy God was stunned when he saw the two words on the plaque. That's right, anything. Then, he looked at Crazy God. Lin Rei said in a carefree manner, Anytime, follow your heart, walk as you please, and enjoy the world freely. Chapter 866. Anytime, follow your heart, walk as you please. The moment he heard Lin Rei's words, Crazy Shintai's expression froze. His heart was filled with bewilderment. He repeated Lin Rei's words to himself. However, his bewildered eyes slowly regained clarity as Crazy Shintai repeated them. In the end, Crazy Shintai did not fully recover. Instead, his eyes were even brighter than before. Moreover, at this moment, a nameless aura was emitted from Crazy Shintai's body. It was hard to describe this aura. It felt like Crazy Shintai was more at ease now. He was no longer as lazy and restrained as before. At the side, Lin Rei, who noticed Crazy Shintai's change, smiled. He could not help but feel gratified. TSK. Not bad. Although he looks a little silly, his comprehension is indeed quite interesting. Just by saying it casually, he was able to comprehend the great Tao. Heh, I must have this person. Crazy Shintai was still in that special state. He did not know that someone was already thinking about him. Moreover, the person who was thinking about him was Lin Rei. He was a person who would not give up until he achieved his goal. In particular, if he encountered someone who was exceptionally talented, no matter how eloquent he was, he would try to recruit that person into his tutelage. Even if that person had a tutelage, so what? To Lin Li, nothing was taboo. He smiled and did not give Crazy Shintai a chance. He raised his head and looked at the plaque engraved at random under the blanket. He nodded in satisfaction and stepped out. He reached out and pushed the door open. Finally, his figure disappeared behind the door. At the door, Crazy Shintai remained where he was. The passers-by only frowned when they saw him. As for the others, they could not be bothered to care about what crazy Shintai was doing. As for Lin Rei, at this moment, Lin Rei used a few minutes to check out his future residence. Overall, it was not bad. Of course, compared to the Xuanzong Sect secret realm, this place could not be compared. They were not even on the same level. However, this was not his Xuanzong Sect. And he did not come here to enjoy. Therefore, overall it was not bad. There was a front yard and a backyard. There was also a garden in the backyard, a pond and a pavilion in the middle of the pond. The scenery was picturesque, making people forget to leave. As for the front yard, it was where people lived. Bu Jie estimated that there were about 10 rooms. Excluding some necessary rooms, the rest of the rooms were basically empty. Lin Rei didn't care about these things. He went to his master bedroom and opened the door. Other than a bed, a table, and a chair, there was nothing else. Moreover, there wasn't even a quilt on the bed. There was only a praying mat. Lin Rei was speechless. This talisman grandmaster is really something. He only gave me one praying mat in the room. However, this is still tolerable. But the most excessive thing is that he should at least give me a set of teacups, a teapot, tea leaves and other necessary items. With that, Lin Rei shook his head speechlessly. With a thought, a set of glowing teacups appeared in his hand. Sigh, it's still better to do it myself. Looking at the teacup in his hand, Lin Rei smiled. I never expected that the things little Tion prepared for me that I didn't use in the past would be of use now. Not bad. As he looked at the teacup in his hand, Lin Rei couldn't help but think of Lin Tion. He thought of that brother and companion that had accompanied him through hardships and tribulations. His thoughts were soundless, yet they surged into Lin Rei's heart like surging waves. Alas! Little Tion, I hope you're well. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have left you outside. As he spoke, a wisp of guilt arose in his heart. In the blink of an eye, 15 minutes had passed. In the end, Lin Rei recovered from his guilt and thoughts, and he placed the teacup in his hand on the table. Forget it, I'll waste a day and decorate this residence. As he thought about this, Lin Li pulled out a random assortment of items from his interspatial ring. There were all sorts of things inside, such as blankets, pillows, decorations, and even tables and chairs. Looking at these, Lin Rei bitterly smiled and thought to himself, at this time, he moved a few houses over for me. There are even tables. Although he thought this, Lin Rei was indeed very happy and warm in his heart. Moreover, looking at the tables and chairs, Lin Rei was shocked. Damn, who did little Tion rob at this time? He even used golden incense wood to make tables. What a waste of natural resources. Although golden incense wood was not a better material for refining tools, it was still a very rare existence. Moreover, the most important thing was that golden incense wood was only found in Wuzhou, and the annual production of golden incense wood was not high at all. Just the ones taken out now should be the production of golden incense wood. Of course, golden incense wood's characteristics were not because it was a material for refining tools, but because of its various textures. Strands of golden threads existed within it like silk threads. Thus, golden incense would instantly raise its aesthetic. Most importantly, golden incense would naturally emitted a kind of fragrance. This kind of fragrance could clear one's mind and help cultivators cultivate. It could also prevent the formation of inner demons. Looking at these, Lin Rei nodded and did not think too much about it. He threw out all the tables in the room. Lin Rei was not a person who had high requirements for quality of life, but if he had the conditions, then Lin Rei would not waste it. With a wave of his hand, a gentle wind appeared. The things prepared in compromise allowed them to return to the place where they should be. In just a few breaths' time, the originally ordinary room had changed greatly at this moment. If Xuanfeng, the sect master of the Talisman Sect, walked into Lin Rei's room at this moment, he would probably be so shocked that he would not even be able to speak. After all, the things in the room at this moment were probably something that even he, the sect master of the Talisman Sect, could not bring out. Putting everything else aside, just the golden incense wood alone was probably not available in the 9th state. Tisk, what's the use of preparing these useless things? You can't use them. At this moment, a sour voice sounded in Lin Rei's mind. Lin Rei could not think of anyone else other than the little dragon who had spoken to him. However, when he heard the displeasure in the voice, Lin Rei was secretly pleased. Sigh, there's no other way. Lin Rei entered the system and looked at the little dragon on the surface of the lake. He smiled. Little Tion, you've prepared so much. I don't want to. The main thing is, aren't they just for show? Moreover, I've always believed in a saying. What saying? Subconsciously, the little dragon asked. It's shameful to waste. I like to believe that it's shameful to waste. With that, Lin Rei got off the stunned little dragon and exited the system. F***CK. A long time after Lin Rei left, the little dragon came back to its senses and looked at Lin Rei in disdain. You're the only one who thinks it's shameful to waste. I wonder who it was in the past. You could have raised your cultivation by more, but you wasted half of the energy. Now you're telling me that it's shameful to waste. Where's your face? The voice was not loud. Lin Rei could have heard it clearly. However, when Lin Rei exited the system space, he cut off the connection between him and the little dragon. Unless Lin Rei reconnected, even if the little dragon screamed until it broke its throat, Lin Rei would not be able to hear a single word. In front of the random door, Crazy Shintai's body trembled and he came back to his senses. I didn't expect that just a sentence, a coincidence, would allow me to enter the early-stage Divine Emperor realm. He sighed and looked forward with a relaxed and excited expression. The figure he wanted to see disappeared. Crazy Shintai was stunned for a moment before he understood. It seems that I've been meditating here for a long time. Then, a pair of grateful eyes looked at the tightly shut door. After a while, he turned and left. However, at this moment, Crazy Shintai was grateful to Lin Rei. He left. At this moment, in the master bedroom of the random villa, Lin Rei smiled when he found out that Crazy Shintai had left. He can break through with just a sentence. I must get him. Otherwise, it's such a waste to leave him here. As he thought about this, a mysterious smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. He looked into the distance. At this moment, he seemed to have thought of a wicked idea. A good idea. Forget it. I'll think about this later. I'd better think about how I can get the position of the Sect Master of the Talisman Grandmaster first. As he spoke, Lin Rei sat on the sandalwood stool. He got some hot water from somewhere and made some tea. Now it was done. Lin Rei picked up the teacup and took a sip. A look of enjoyment appeared on his face. Alas! This kind of life is like a fleeting cloud to me. It's an existence that I can only look at but can't reach. Even so, Lin Rei didn't give up on this opportunity. As he tasted this divine tea, he thought about what to do next. However, perhaps because Lin Rei was too engrossed in his thoughts, or perhaps because he was too relaxed after coming here, he didn't notice that someone had quietly appeared beside him. She sat down like the owner of the room, poured the tea, and started to taste it. Tisk. TSK. TSK. I didn't expect this little bastard to be so rich. I'm afraid that even the Sect Master of the Talisman Grandmaster might not have these things. At the side, the person who was tasting the tea glanced at everything in the room and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Heh! She laughed in her heart and didn't say anything. She just stared blankly at Lin Rei, who was engrossed in his thoughts. Unknowingly, he had become engrossed in his thoughts. At this moment, Lin Rei sensed that someone was looking at him. Instantly, he came back to his senses. His figure flashed to the door and he turned around to look. When he saw the figure sitting in front of the table, Lin Rei was stunned. Damn it! What's going on? Why is this fellow back again? At this moment, the person sitting in front of Lin Rei was none other than Xueqi, who had been dumped by Lin Rei previously and had been secretly observing Lin Rei. However, the difference was that when Xueqi was secretly observing him previously, he was dressed in female clothes. Now, he was dressed in male clothes again. Looking at this and that, Lin Rei felt a headache coming on. Seriously. The more I don't want to see someone, the more he just has to appear. Of course, Lin Rei wouldn't say this out loud. After all, Lin Rei didn't believe that a small force was behind someone who could nurture such a young emperor god. Looking at Xueqi, who was engrossed in his thoughts, Lin Rei was stunned. Then he said, "Brother Su, you're awake." Seeing that Xueqi didn't respond,
Lin Rei was stunned.
Then he said patiently, "Brother Su, you're awake."
This time, just like before, Su Ziqing didn't open his mouth and didn't come back to his senses.
Regarding this,
Lin Rei didn't think like before. He took a step forward and patted Su Ziqing's body gently. "Brother Su, can you wake up now?" Finally, if he still didn't wake Su Ziqing up, Lin Rei planned to use a spell. However, at least Su Ziqing woke up. Otherwise, Lin Rei didn't know what would happen next. He didn't even dare to imagine it. "Brother Su, what were you thinking about just now? Why were you so engrossed in your thoughts? I called out to you many times, but I couldn't wake you up." Hearing this, Su Ziqing was stunned. His originally fair face turned red. He couldn't help but lower his head. He didn't dare to look at Lin Rei. I was thinking about some family matters just now, so I didn't notice Brother Lin calling me. I'm really sorry." As he spoke, he quickly stood up and bowed. Su Ziqing's sudden action stunned Lin Rei. He quickly waved his hand. All right. It's nothing."
However,
As if he thought of something, he said again, "However, I don't remember inviting you to my house."
Brother Su, I wonder if you,
Hearing this, Su Ziqing was speechless. He wanted to explain, but he couldn't think of a reason. What? Is this question very difficult to answer? At this moment, Su Ziqing's embarrassed appearance caused Lin Rei to feel extremely pleased.
I came to.
Su Ziqing stuttered. He didn't know what to say, and it caused Lin Rei's head to ache. Aya, that's enough. Don't say any more. If you're in the wrong, then you have to find a reason. As he spoke, Lin Rei returned to his seat. Speak.
May I know why Brother Su has barged into my residence?
At the same time, he was also telling Su Ziqing that if there was nothing else, she should leave as soon as possible. However, Lin Rei had underestimated Su Ziqing's shamelessness. Su Ziqing didn't leave. Instead, he sat down and started to boast.
Actually, I came to find Brother Lin this time for no other reason than to ask for a room in Brother Lin's residence. After all, I didn't participate in the Talisman Grandmaster's competition, so I can't stay in the Talisman Grandmaster's residence.
What did you say? Lin Rei looked at Su Ziqing with disbelief. At this moment, 10,000 curses were running through his mind. He had never expected such a situation. I want to stay here. After all, you're not a disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster. However, I also want to take a look at the Talisman Grandmaster's scenery.
So, no, I don't agree.
Before Su Ziqing could finish, Lin Rei rejected him without any hesitation. Why? Su Ziqing was puzzled. There's no reason. It's just that I don't like to live under the same roof as someone I'm not familiar with. So, I'm truly sorry. I can't fulfill Brother Su's request. Su Ziqing gnashed his teeth when he heard Lin Rei's words. He felt wronged. Chapter 867. F***CK. This D***man piece of glass. Why does his grievance make me want to go up and protect him? Seeing the aggrieved look on Su Ziqing's face, for a moment, Linley unconsciously took a step forward. But in the instant that he did, Linley was stunned. Stunned, he hurriedly retreated. He couldn't help but complain to Su Ziqing in his heart. At the same time, he began to complain about his own self-control. My cultivation level is like this. Could it be that I'm not at the top level? Hiss. That's not right either. For a moment, this question entangled Lin Rei. He was vexed and could not figure out why.
At this moment in the system space, where the little dragon was, a burst of laughter rang out.
Little bastard, I told you to cut off contact with me. I didn't expect you to be so unconfident now. You're even questioning your own sexual orientation. If your wife finds out about this, don't you think she'll strangle you to death? At this moment, if Rua Lin Rei were here and heard the little dragon say this, he would probably fall to the ground and never get up. Lin Rei didn't know, but that didn't mean the little dragon didn't know. When Su Ziqing arrived just now, the little dragon, who had nothing to do,
intentionally or unintentionally looked up information about Xueqi. After reading it, the little dragon was overjoyed. However, there were also many surprises along with much joy. Apart from knowing that Xueqi was a girl, the little dragon also learned from her information that Xueqi wasn't from the realm of the gods at all. She came from the holy realm. Regarding this, the little dragon began to feel a little anxious. This was because Xueqi had been following Lin Rei from the beginning. He was afraid. Afraid that Xueqi was someone who had been sent to find the supreme bloodline of Hongmeng. According to Lin Rei's current cultivation level, although ordinary Dao fruit saints weren't much of a threat to Lin Rei, but what about those above the Dao fruit realm? However, at this moment, Lin Rei had cut off contact with him, so his original worry had faded by quite a bit. In any case, he had the heart to do so, but Lin Rei didn't. Of course, even though it was unintentional. Smiling, the little dragon sat down. Looking at the embarrassed Lin Rei outside, he was indescribably happy. Humph, stinking brat. It's good to let you have a taste of your own medicine. However, if this little girl is really sent by that guy, humph. Don't blame me for not following the rules and suppressing you with a wave of my hand. Suddenly, a terrifying and unknown pressure swept through the entire system. If Rua Lin's thunder or the people of the holy world saw this, they would probably be shocked to death. Sigh. You're still so hot-tempered. When will you restrain yourself a little? Suddenly, a voice that sounded like it was synthesized by an electronic device resounded in the system space. However, what was a little different was that there was a hint of human emotion in this electronically synthesized voice. Hearing this voice, the little dragon was stunned. He retracted his pressure and returned to his usual playful self. With a silly smile on his face, he scratched his head. What? I still have things to do. As for Lin Rei's matter, help me keep an eye on him. I'll go first. Without waiting for the system to speak, the little dragon opened his mouth and finished speaking. He instantly disappeared from where he was. His speed was as fast as thunder and waves, which was astonishing. Sigh. I really don't know what to do with you. Watching the little dragon's figure disappear into the distance, the system sighed and said no more. The system space returned to its usual arcane realm and tranquility. In the outside world, Lin Rei saw that Xueqi didn't speak and instead left the chair like a rascal. He thought that Xueqi was going to leave and was overjoyed. However, who would have thought that in the next moment, Lin Rei was stunned. He saw Xueqi walk directly to the bedside. She didn't even look at Lin Rei, much less pay attention to him. She took off her shoes and lay on the bed. She even covered herself with a blanket and looked as if she was going to sleep. Lin Rei completely lost his temper when he saw this scene. He didn't expect Xueqi to be like this. However, what could he do? Although he had noticed a little earlier, he hadn't completely revealed himself. Moreover, Xueqi had the cultivation of a god emperor. If she made a move now, the higher-ups of the Talisman Sect would be even more vigilant. Then, it would be even more difficult to complete the task. As he thought about this, Lin Rei felt helpless. In the end, he shook his head and sighed. Xueqi, you can stay here, but please leave my bed and my room. There are many rooms nearby. You can stay in whichever one you want. Hurry up. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll regret this decision. With a swoosh, the blanket was lifted. Xueqi quickly put on her shoes with a smile on her face. She winked at Lin Rei and left the room in a flash. Thank you. It seems like we'll have to do our best in the future. She said this before she left. Lin Rei almost fell off his chair when he heard this. He was filled with depression. In the end, Lin Rei shook his head and closed the door with a wave of his hand. Not long after, a cry of surprise sounded from the side. Why is this place so different from your place? Lin Rei understood what Xueqi meant. Nonsense, these things belong to me. Lin Rei replied as he thought about it. Of course they're different. If you want to become like me, you should prepare for it yourself. I've already shown you enough kindness by giving you a place to stay. Don't tell me you want to stay in my room? As he spoke, he sneered and waved his hand. An honorable level array appeared outside the room and enveloped the entire room. This was all for the sake of being on guard against Xueqi suddenly barging in.
Linley was truly afraid of her. At this moment, Linley's world was finally peaceful. A smile appeared on Linley's face as he walked to his bed, sat down cross-legged, and began to meditate.
Lin Ray, who was cultivating, did not know that in an elder's hall in the depths of the Talisman Sect, an elder was looking at a few disciples in front of him with a gloomy face and giving them instructions.
Hong,
remember that the person who bullied your junior brother is none other than the new disciple of the sect this year.
That person's cultivation is a little high.
Although he was initially at the True God realm, he exploded with the cultivation of the Divine Emperor realm.
So, you must be careful this time.
There is nothing wrong with sparring between disciples of the sect.
However, if you want to watch them fight, I'm afraid the sect will stop you.
If that's the case, your junior brother's injuries will be in vain. At this moment, if Lin Ray was there, he would definitely recognize the elder. He was none other than Jin Chen's grandfather, Jin Buhuan. As for the person Jin Buhuan called Hong, he was Jin Chen's father, Jin Buhuan's son, Jin Long's disciple. However, Jin Long was in seclusion all year round. Thus, Jin Buhuan had been teaching Hong. Hong name was Chong Hong. He was one of the few direct disciples of the sect. Due to his great talent, he was already at the early divine ancestor realm. That was why Jin Buhuan had Chong Hong appear. As for Jin Buhuan, he naturally could not appear. Otherwise, not only would Xuanfeng punish him, he would also be branded as a bully. Yes, this grand disciple understands. This grand disciple will definitely make that bastard who injured junior brother pay with his blood. How dare he bully junior brother like that? A murderous aura erupted from Chong Hong. Sensing the murderous aura, Jin Buhuan was overjoyed. Chong Hong had a good relationship with Jin Chen. That was the reason why Jin Buhuan thought of Chong Hong. Suddenly, Jin Buhuan thought of something and asked, "Oh, that's right. You still haven't told me who that bastard who injured junior brother is?" Haha, this old man forgot. Jin Buhuan laughed awkwardly. Then he said, "That person is this year's newcomer king. His name is Lin Ray. He's very easy to find. He was already a core disciple of the Talisman Sect the moment he entered the sect. Thus, understood. This grand disciple will go and prepare. I guarantee that Lin Ray will not be able to call for help in the Talisman Sect. I guarantee that he'll suffer so much that he'll wish he was dead." Chong Hong smiled cruelly as he looked at Jin Buhuan. After bowing to Jin Buhuan, he left. Humph. Lin Ray, let's see how you'll survive this time. Those who oppose this exalted will not have a good ending. This is only the beginning. I'll slowly play with you until you're in complete despair. With a malevolent expression, Jin Buhuan looked at Chong Hong's departing figure. Sigh. Hong, you must succeed this time. Although he was full of confidence in Chong Hong, for some reason, when Chong Hong left, a trace of panic rose from the bottom of his heart. However, Lin Ray was completely unaware of this. At this moment, Lin Ray was still immersed in the pleasure of cultivating and comprehending. At this moment, on the Luan Peak, Chong Hong, who had left Jin Buhuan's place, had returned to his residence. He brought his trusted subordinates to his room. Looking at the dozen or so people who were around his age, Chong Hong's expression was solemn. His tone was strict. "Everyone, I've asked all of you to come here for no other reason. My junior brother has been bullied during this period of time. So, Senior Chong Hong, just say it. What do you want? Do you want an arm, a leg, or, As he spoke, the young man who stood out to express his opinion reached out and drew a line across his neck. "That's right, senior brother. Who would be so reckless? Doesn't he know that Jin Chen is your most beloved junior brother? He actually dared to attack Jin Chen in the Talisman Sect. I think he must be tired of living." "Yes, I agree. However, which faction did the person who injured your junior brother belong to? Is it the Heavenly Cloud faction or the Red Sleeve faction? If it's one of these two factions, perhaps there will be a lot of problems. After all, the members of these two factions are almost as strong as you. There are even rumors that the member of the Red Sleeve faction has recently made a breakthrough and surpassed you." Hiss. When these words were spoken, the originally noisy scene instantly quieted down. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their expressions changed and became unsightly. Seeing everyone's reaction, Chong Hong let out a cold laugh. But that cold laugh disappeared as quickly as it came, and no one saw it.
Don't worry.
That person isn't from the Skycloud gang, nor is he from the Red Sleeve gang. He's just the #1 disciple of the new disciples, the Rookie King, Linley.
What? New disciple? Newcomer king?
A doubtful voice came from the side. Not only that, everyone present was stunned. Their faces were filled with astonishment and doubt. They originally thought that it was an old faction of the sect or an expert who didn't care about his life. However, they didn't expect that the person who injured Jean Chen was so different from what they had imagined. It was like the difference between the clouds and the mud.
That's right.
How about you, senior brother, leave this matter to me, Zhu Zhenggao.
Trust me, I will definitely do a good job for you. TSKU? Let me do it.
Not to mention other things, my faction in the sect is at least bigger than yours. Moreover, I am stronger than you. Therefore, senior brother, leave this matter to me. Without waiting for Chong Hong to finish his sentence, the crowd of cultivators began to scramble to be the first to speak. Chong Hong sneered in his heart. However, he still wore a gentle smile on his face.
All right, stop arguing for now.
You guys can discuss this amongst yourselves.
Oh right, I forgot to discuss this with you.
Linley will be a core disciple as soon as he enters the school. So, you guys have to be careful. He lives in the core disciple area.
Oh? Core disciple?
Hearing this, everyone was stunned. However, they weren't worried anymore. After all, Linley was just one person, while they had a group of people. However, they hadn't expected that the Linley in their eyes wasn't what they had imagined.
All right, you guys go.
Let him feel despair step by step. I want him to live a life worse than death. If this matter is done well, then I will give you the golden dragon pill this time. It will allow you to break through to the next level. Once these words were spoken, the crowd instantly became silent. There was only the sound of breathing. It could be seen that this golden dragon pill was extremely tempting. However, just as they were discussing, a youth with a long sword in his arms came to the entrance of the courtyard. His face was cold and his body emitted an invisible sword intent, giving people a feeling that they couldn't get close to him. Raising his head, he looked at the courtyard that had already become someone else's. The instant he saw the name of the courtyard, the youth frowned. However, he quickly relaxed, as if he was relieved of something.
My name is Lu Bai.
After coming out of seclusion today, I heard that junior brother Lin Rei's sword intent is soaring to the heavens. As your brother, I am very infatuated with the way of the sword. I wonder if junior brother Lin could come out and fight with me to comprehend the sword intent. Without any warning, he directly spoke. A roar similar to a sound wave battle technique appeared. It was like a sound transmission from 1,000 miles away. However, it was many times stronger than a sound transmission from 1,000 miles away. Lu Bai's voice resounded throughout the entire courtyard. His purpose was to make Lin Rei appear. However, what Lu Bai didn't know was that outside Lin Rei's room, there was an honorable level formation that isolated all sound. As for what Lu Bai said just now, Lin Rei didn't hear it at all. However, Lin Rei didn't know that Su Ziqing, who was staying next to him, heard it very clearly. Furthermore, it was the kind of sound that woke her up from a dream. Phew, bastard. That bastard actually dared to disturb my beauty sleep. As the saying goes, the uncle can endure, but the aunt can't. Regarding sleeping, Su Ziqing couldn't forgive. She stood up, put on her shoes and took a step forward. A series of afterimages appeared. In the next moment, she arrived at the entrance in a few breaths. When she opened the door, Lu Bai, who was standing at the entrance like a sharp sword, appeared in front of Su Ziqing. Looking at him, Su Ziqing was stunned. Then the anger in her heart soared. She berated, say, "Do you have nothing better to do? Why don't you just focus on cultivating your way of the sword? Why must you challenge me? It's all because of you that my beautiful dream was ruined by you. Tell me, what should I do?" You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.